Stay at the line.
Oh, pack of cars come piling in as well.
Come. Come in the lane. Here low. Come back on him.
That was incredible.
Dude, nobody better. Nobody. Hell yeah, guys.
I immediately see in the chat, I have an ad, and then Spencer laughs in YouTube Premium. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to NWP. We got plenty of stuff to talk about. We got Martinsville. We got another lawsuit. I mean, we're practically Law and Order at this point. We have Throwback weekend. We have guest announcements coming up. Tons of fun stuff. But we should probably get our other co-hosts on screen. Here is Danny B and Eric Estep on the screen.
I was about to say, are we watching the Jarrett post-race stream here? I mean, when are we coming in?
Should be. Look at that shirt Jarrett is wearing. I mean, Danny, your Darlington shirt is very nice as well, but I love those colors on Jarrett's shirt. You just steal the show. Just let that fill the whole screen. Looks great.
Well, so really quick, I waited till we were live to tell you guys this. But I was chilling in the office on Monday. And I was writing some stuff down, getting some stuff ready for the show. And I looked outside my window and I see this dude running by in this shirt. And I'm like, damn, that's a familiar looking shirt. Like, what is that? And I kind of look closer as he's running by and I'm like, holy crap, that's a podcast party bus shirt. And I was like, in the wild. And I'm like, this
in your
dude
neighborhood.
In my neighborhood. So I'm like, if you're watching, I saw you go by and
wow.
I was only probably like 20, 25 feet away. I mean, it was small world.
I promise it wasn't me just walking by your apartment, Jarrett.
No, it was like this blonde dude. He had like blonde hair and was wearing that shirt, some all dressed in black with black shorts. And I'm just like,
and a ski mask trying to break into your house.
Yes. Yeah. Whoever you are, I salute you. You
That's
made
cool.
my day. I Riss was just coming home at the same time. She gets up there. I'm like, Riss, guess what I just saw? I've never seen one of those that's not been worn by one of us or at Darlington. So
that's crazy.
And funny story, this shirt I got at Richmond. I didn't even get this at Darlington. Wow. I found it at Richmond in 2021 when I went. So but they're not all here. There's already over 300 in the chat. They're not all here for T-shirt week, for Throwback week. They're not even They're not even here for Throwback week just yet. We got plenty of fun throwback stuff to talk about, but I think they're here to talk about Martinsville and the nuclear fallout that we had, and also maybe one of the most overlooked wins of a weekend. But I think first we need to get to the Cup race. So this race was the Cookout 400, not a 500 miler, 400.
Not to be confused with the Cookout Clash or the Cookout 500 or the
or the yada yada yada.
NASCAR guys, have you noticed that?
Just a little bit. I kind of ask, what do you think we're going to see more of this year? Do you think we're going to see more Cookout sponsored races or Tim Duggar concerts at SMI tracks? It's actually a really good race.
What's the over under? Give me my new bid every week.
5.5. I think I put mine at the prediction I had is that Tim Duggar would do something at 9, and then there's Cookouts already at 3 or 4. Cookouts coming quick.
It's a horse race. They are neck and neck.
It really is. Where it wasn't a horse race out at the front was during the Cup race. Denny Hamlin just flies away in his first Martinsville win in 10 years. Danny, I want to hear from you first. What do you think this says about Denny? Because before the year, I mean, a lot of us were talking about, is Denny finally kind of getting to over the hill? Is his age going to catch up with him? I think he's 44 or something like that. And he didn't look that old. I'll just say that.
First of all, I'm an idiot for having the last pick and not even thinking about taking Hamlin. But to be fair, it had been however many years since he won here. So we're kind of right to not think about him anymore, unfortunately. But he's still been in contention. Obviously, there was the infamous Bowman fiasco in 2021. So he's had moments where he's been in contention, but he hadn't been able to put it together and get a win yet. This is pretty nice. They would just announced a deal with Progressive. and I got them in the victory lane already. So, an anchor sponsors already went to victory lane with him. So that's a good thing for that relationship. Maybe they can build upon that, and who knows what the future looks like with that one. But other than that, it's good for Denny Hamlin and his fans, obviously, because you start to wonder, okay, we're starting to see some drivers fall off like a Kyle Busch and like Jimmy Johnson did. Am I getting to the point where my driver's going to start falling off? And, well, not yet. He's still winning. I do have to say, though, and maybe this is just because I went to the Tennessee Ohio State football game. I think it's pretty cringe to try to take that Ohio State versus the world and then slap it onto the flag and do that whole deal. I think it was actually set up more from one of his crew members, and they just kind of liked the idea. It wasn't necessarily him who did that. I don't like that. I don't really like it. It's kind of cringe to me.
I mean, I kind of agree with you because it was awkward. It was awkward that fans were mostly cheering when he got out of the car, and then he flashes the flag, and it's like, well, you're like waving you're waving at the bull that's not there. He's not going to charge. But I heard that it was a fan gave it to him, and they kind of like talked it out. Like, yeah, let's do it. Let's use this. But that's what I heard, which makes it cool. But obviously, when you're first watching it on the broadcast, you don't know that backstory. You just see. You think of it as like the watermelon, where Chastain has a watermelon at every race in case he wins. You're like, how long has Denny and team been plotting this 11 against the world shtick? And yeah, it's a little cheesy in that respect. But
what would you rather have, this flag or I beat your favorite driver?
I like the I beat your favorite driver. I honestly did. I like that one. And like Jared said, it's more original. He's like Denny's still on the Ohio State bandwagon, which is kind of funny, but also, I don't know, a little stale, but I like it. Whatever the case, I still like that it's a great image, I think, for the casual fan tuning in who's going to see this driver antagonizing the crowd who's mixed on him. I like that. I think it's good that Denny leans into it. When he stayed away from the I beat your favorite driver slogan last year, I was like, no, man, lean into it. Keep it up. Like, that's good. That's good, harmless banter between driver and fans. But as far as Denny Hamlin being over the hill, as some suggested, I've pushed back on that all off season because, and shame on me as well, Danny, for not picking Denny Hamlin this weekend. Really good short track racer still. He won at Richmond and Bristol last spring, but also really good at saving tires. NASCAR brought a softer tire to Martinsville in the fall. Hamlin, I believe, finished third in that race. They brought a softer tire to Bowman Gray, and he was very much in contention there. This is the same tire compound. No wonder he was in the top 5, contending and leading laps. Now, did I expect him to lead 270 laps? No, I don't think anyone was really expecting that this weekend, but it just goes to show he's a short track guy, late model guy. He knows how to save tires better than most of these younger drivers now in the Cup Series. So this softer tire, right in his wheelhouse. So in hindsight, I shouldn't be surprised at all that Denny Hamlin dominated.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people too I saw on social media were like, "Oh, maybe this is Denny who is who's fighting back against NASCAR. It's him against the world with the lawsuit." And then he comes out in this podcast, "No, it's just the Ohio State bandwagon." It's like, I mean, at least Denny Hamlin will be part of a bandwagon, including a championship. I kid.
No,
Denny was.
Can you kid when you're right?
There's still time. I've seen crazier stuff happen. Hey, I'm a Cubs fan and I saw my team win the World Series. Like, anything can happen if that can happen. But that was not the only real storyline of the race. I kind of want to talk a bit first about his driver before we talk about the racing or who was mad at who. Bubba Wallace scores another third place finish, another top 5. And if I'm not mistaken, he's I think 9th or so on the chase grid or the playoff grid, almost a full race points wise up. Best start of his career by far. Eric, I'll start with you on this one. Like, is Bubba a legit top 10 driver this year?
So far, yes. I think without a doubt, if you look at stage points earned, I think he's third. I want to say, yes, Daniel Cespedes posted today that Bubba Wallace leads the Cup Series so far in percentage of laps spent in the top 3 and top 5 this year. So yes, in terms of pure speed, obviously Bubba Wallace has been a top 10 driver / car this season. The results haven't always been there, but the last couple weeks they have been. So that's extremely encouraging. This is a driver and a team that usually starts slow, heats up in the summer. They made the crew chief change, brought over Charles Denike, and it seems to have lit a fire under them from the get-go. So absolutely, right now, speed-wise, Bubba is for sure top 10, and it sounds like points-wise, he is also top 10 as well. So really good start to the year for Bubba Wallace.
What do you think, Danny? You think Bubba might be that dark horse heading into the playoffs? He might be that guy that sneaks into the round of 8, maybe?
I feel like he kind of always is that character to an extent, because I still feel like he's going to need to cement a win. I feel like he's not at the level that I feel confident enough to say yes, his points performance in this entire season will get him in, because some guys step up more as we go through the season. They may not, but it's always a matter of, okay, can you get that win, or are you going to be always right there, that even if you don't luck up and get the win, you're still going to be in there. It's it's amazing what can happen with just we start getting into a situation. This all looks fine and dandy right now, but when we get closer to 5 or 4 races left to go in the season, and we got 13 guys who've gone to victory lane or whatever number it might be by then, and Bubba's still not one of them, then it's going to be on that chopping block of where is he going to be at that point. So I would like to see him go ahead and secure, a victory. He's only gotten wins, post they're in the playoffs at this point in his career. So I'd like to see him prove to us finally that he can, he's in great equipment. We see Tyler Reddick, what he can do in that car. Riely Herbst, I'm going to not look at him too much right now, but we know what this equipment is capable of and how much now experience Bubba Wallace has. And we gotta keep this in mind, guys. He's been racing now in the Cup Series full time since 2018. So quite a few years under his belt at this point. And it's one thing to be up there contending for top 5s, but there are other drivers who have are way past him in the win column now.
Well, yeah, I almost thought, you bring up the Riely Herbst thing, and I know it's a little off topic, but I almost think of that meme with Family Guy where it's like road trip, and it's like I'm in. Then you see like the wooden plank. No, not you, Seamus. That's Riely Herbst with 2311 right now. Which again, he's a rookie. But I think that with Bubba, he easily, I think, can get that win at this point. He's never, I don't think in my memory, started out even as a top 15 driver points wise this far in or this early into the year. Starting out better with a team that definitely gets better and peaks at the end of the season. I think that that's a recipe to get a win at some point. He has a lot of good tracks coming up in the next couple of weeks where he's ran well at before. He has, obvious speed like we've seen out of Tyler Reddick and Toyota in general at a lot of these tracks too. So I mean, he could win at Darlington. He's ran really well at Texas before. He's ran really well, obviously, at Talladega, Kansas, and Bristol. He's had good runs before. He very easily could get that win, be the next driver with a B name locked into the playoffs, and at that point, it kind of would be interesting to see a Bubba Wallace and a 23 team in general that doesn't have pressure on them throughout the regular season at all. Just relaxed for 10, 15 weeks. We've never seen that before. And I'd be really interested to see like what they could accomplish in doing that. On another end, there was a Toyota team that didn't do all that well. We'll talk about Eric Jones here getting DQ'd. They will not appeal the DQ. I'll be honest, like I copied on the points after they reset on NASCAR.com, and I'm not going to rewrite the whole thing, but Eric Jones goes from 21st in the standings, 33 out, to I believe he's like somewhere back around the almost 30th.
29th is where he's currently listed. Just ahead of Brad Keselowski, but behind Haley, both Dillon brothers, Hocevar, even Cindric, who had that 50-point penalty and also DNF'd this week.
I mean, I'm not banking anything on what we know legacy equipment is, but man, this could have happened at a better time for him to go to probably one of his best tracks of his career, Darlington.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, what's encouraging about legacy this year is John Hunter Nemechek is top 20 in points. I think he's 16th or 17th in the regular season standings. I don't know where he is on the playoff grid, maybe a spot or two below that, but
he's 19th. Well, he's tied for 19th with Stenhouse and then as many points as Barry.
Yeah, he's right there with Barry, but Barry has that win. Like either way, like this team is better than like so far. And I know it's early. There's only been 3 or 4 traditional tracks so far, but so far they are faster than they were last year, which is what you would hope for. Are they a playoff team? Probably not unless they squeak out a win somewhere, but they're better than they were last year. So that's, gotta meet minimum weights. That's your next hurdle. There's always a hurdle, it seems, with this team. Now there's a legal hurdle,
better than last year.
But speed wise, they're a little better than they were last year. That's a good sign.
And looking at the bottom line here, looking at the point side of it, the 7 races in, obviously still a long way to go, but we can start actually taking a few things at this point, I think. And I'm looking at my end, and there's starting to become that gap. There's that gap between Stenhouse and Suarez that's roughly 21 points. That's basically the top 20 is pulling away from those that are in the middle and back of the pack even further. There's some of the guys up towards the front, really from Blaney on up points-wise, are starting to pull away from the Bushers, the Briscoes, the Chastains. Now, that can obviously change.
There are 4 Hendrick cars in the top 5 of the regular season standings right now. And William Byron, because he had a rough day, lost a chunk of his points lead. So suddenly Larson, even Elliott have reined him in. And Chase Elliott, we should give him credit for running his probably best points race of the season, led 40 laps, finished 4th. Again, soft tire, Martinsville short track. That's also kind of in Chase's wheelhouse, but they put together a good day.
I'm interested to see with these teams that are all kind of from, if you look at the grid, from about 12th place Busher down to 20th place Stenhouse, you got, that kind of 8 or 9 guys that are going to be right there. And these are kind of the guys there all year. I'm wondering which ones, based on past data, might be doing crazier strategies to try and get out front towards the end of races, or take 2 tires at the end and maybe try to hold off the guys on 4 or something like that. Like, I think that this is the point of the year you're going to start seeing more of that, because there's teams that are probably going to regress to the mean. I don't think Michael McDowell is going to be top 16 all year. I think he'll be on the cut line.
Well, that's what I want to ask this question real quick, because right now, if we vault Barry in top 16, currently in a provisional playoff spot, Ross Chastain and Chris Buescher both missed last year. Do you guys think I think we both say they'll probably maintain or at least be in the running, right?
I would say Buescher would be my bet of the 2 of them.
That's fair. But the 2 more interesting ones, then Ryan Preece is currently 15th on the grid. And McDowell, you just mentioned, would probably, I believe, be 16th on the grid. Michael McDowell was 12th at Martinsville this weekend, y'all. And he's got some sneaky good numbers at Darlington. Like, we know he could win a super speedway or road course. I'm just saying, I picked McDowell to make the playoffs, not on points. I thought he'd win a race.
No, he'd probably have to win.
He probably will have to win, but like I don't know. How do you feel about those 2?
Yeah. Well, I'll say with McDowell, the problem for me is you can't really 12th place your way in. Like back in the old Chase days, probably like not. there were guys who were able to kind of 12th place their way through half the season and make it in. But I think that there are the possibilities of wins at maybe road courses, super speedways, all of those. Preece is the one I think almost has the higher ceiling, though. Like, and we've always been told, like, Ryan Preece, he's the guy. Get him in the right ride, and he'll show you why he deserves to be up there. And now that he's with RFK, he's having more runs up towards the front. He's we've seen him up towards the front because of strategy, yes, but is able to maintain it. So I'm interested to see, like, as that team grows, what he can do and what kind of runs they get out of that 60 car.
I want to give one more driver shout out real quick before we talk rivalries. And actually, this guy's involved in some of these rivalries, but Ty Gibbs didn't get his first top 10 of the year, did score a top 15, recovered from a late spin with Reddick. But there's some news this week that Cheddar, old Kevin Harvick car chief, worked with Rodney Childers for years, very well known, very well respected. He was recently hired by Joe Gibbs Racing to work on Ty Gibbs's car. Something to watch over the next few weeks. This guy desperately needs a turnaround. JGR not sitting on their hands. They made a big kind of the equivalent of like a key mid-season free agent signing here for Ty Gibbs. Will it give the 54 a boost? We'll have to wait and see.
I keep having my eye on Bristol for Ty Gibbs. I want to see what happens there. I feel like that team is capable of showing what they really are by the time we get there.
So you kind of brought it up. There were people that were upset at each other. It's Martinsville, of course there were. And the Cup race we're talking about. We'll get to the Xfinity race in a bit. That one's a doozy. But there was Joey Logano and Ross Chastain were upset a little bit at each other. There was the battle of the ties, Tyler and Ty Gibbs, that is. Fun fact, I think all 3 ties in the field finished like 13th, 14th, 15th.
Oh my God, I think you're right. Shout out Ty Dillon.
Yeah, it's like Tyler Reddick, Ty Gibbs, Ty Dillon, or maybe you switch the Tyler and Ty at the top. But
no, I think you're right. That's exactly what it was.
It was just triple tie at the end of the top 15.
Can I say real quick, the Logano Chastain feels very 2023 to me. Yes, Ross blocked Briscoe and maybe impacted Briscoe's entry a bit, but Briscoe hit the inside curb and shot up and spun Logano. I don't know. I'm sure Ross maybe raced Joey aggressively other points in the race, and this all just boiled over. That might be true. But the actual wreck that spun Logano and almost cost him a top 10 finish, I'd put that 80% on Briscoe personally, but maybe I guess I've never driven a race car at Martinsville. Maybe we're completely off base here. I just thought it was interesting that he gets out of the car and immediately is like,
did Eric just go out?
Yeah, we did. I like how the two guys who are actually in active storm situations right now, we're fine, but the guy in Texas, where I'm pretty sure it's safe, has the internet go out.
That was perfect timing, though. I do agree with Eric.
By the way, on that same note, if I ever look like I'm looking off screen, I do have some weather, like live weather going on another screen, so I can kind of just keep an eye on it. We're fine for now, but we are keeping an eye on the weather here in Tennessee.
I will survive. I'm gonna take Eric off the screen for now, just so he's not just sitting there like. That was a great freeze frame, though. I'm gonna say that was a really good one.
Very good.
And as for another one, there was I believe Chris Buescher and Noah Gragson. They were upset at each other, and of course, you had another person that just used their car to jump up onto another car into the corner and all of that. I love it. Typical Martinsville stuff. Doesn't matter what you thought about the race itself. It's just typical Martinsville that you're always going to have somebody getting rubbed, getting hit, getting mad. What do you think, Danny? You think any of this is going to carry over to Bristol or even Darlington this week?
I don't think so. I think a lot of these guys are getting to the point where they just recognize Martinsville just is what it is. It's not the same racing style track we used to see. So they know that if you want to make something happen, you do have to get a little more aggressive at this point. I'd say majority of these situations we saw this weekend probably resolved before we ever started the show now, honestly.
Yeah, but still, it'd be all I want to see is Ross and Joey, especially since it really wasn't on Ross all that much. Ross and Joey go for the win, race each other hard at Darlington. Hey, man, we were there. We were there the last time Ross got in trouble at Darlington.
That was the last time that the real Ross Chastain was there. By the way, Eric messaged us and said that his PC is forcing him to restart again, just like last week. So unfortunate. We'll be without Eric for a few minutes.
Eric, get a new PC. We need to keep a counter going and just that's 3, something like that.
So Jarrett and I will probably just finish out the Cup race, and then hopefully he'll be back by the Xfinity race.
Yeah, we can talk about the racing itself in this race. Now, I don't know about because we didn't really talk back and forth about what we think about this race. So I'll give mine first. I really wasn't crazy about this race, all things considered. I thought it was a big step back from what we saw last fall. Last fall we had, I think, probably the best next gen race in Martinsville since they've had it in 2022. The finish and the controversy overshadowed it, but I really, really liked that race. It felt like real Martinsville.
No matter what it is, it just seems like the fall is definitely putting on the better showing at Martinsville right now. For whatever reason, the spring race, just for whatever it is, something's just holding that one back right now. I don't know how there's a good explanation for it, but right now there's just something that's lacking right now.
I think I think part of it maybe it's the weather. They talked about it on the broadcast. Kevin Harvick did that, the weather, and then the track not really changing or any of that stuff. But I'm kind of at the point now where Goodyear, from what it sounds like, has done everything they can. Like it's all they can.
Yeah.
It sounds like it's difficult. It'd be so difficult to go softer without having a 2008 Brickyard happen. And so if they've kind of hit that limit, it's got to be NASCAR at this point that makes the change. The teams are going to just figure this stuff out more and more. You keep the same tire with the same car for a year or two, they're going to figure that out. Like at this point, I'm with Cito on this one. I want more horsepower. We got the softer tires. It's not like we don't even have to. I feel like at this point we don't even have to go up to 900 to get what we want out of this race, which is and out of this track. I just Goodyear can't keep picking it up on this point. Like they've done enough. It's like, sit down, hero. You've done enough. We can take it from here, but instead it's more just like, Goodyear. Yeah, you over there. Give a softer tire. All right. Oh, you already did? No, give me a softer tire. Like that's what it feels like it is. As NASCAR, like, hey, cover our ass again. Yep. The fans are saying it. The industry's saying it. The drivers are saying it. That dog barking out there is saying it. Like, let's just get more. Like, I want more power.
Heck, Ryan Hall, he's probably saying it. He's over here talking about the weather. He probably knows it too.
Yeah, more horsepower. Is there really anything we can take from this though? Like anyone that looked surprisingly good or a team that looked more dominant than others? I mean, Toyota was 1, 2, 3 in this race.
I don't know what we can really take away from this one because I had great confidence in Penske going in this one. I really did. That's why I felt good about my Austin Cindric pick, and that was a flop. I felt like they still had a very good, solid flat track program going into this one, and it wasn't there. It wasn't there. I don't really know what we can take away from this one compared to some of the other races we've seen this year.
Yeah, I mean, what was similar to last year's about this race, and because before I go live after the races, I will be watching the NASCAR leaderboard on the website, and outside of Joey Logano, nobody made any passes for the most part in like the last 50 laps or so in the top 10. No, not that I can at least remember. And Joey Logano had like 40 or 50 lap fresher tires. By the way, Eric will be back in a bit, PC from hell right now. But Logano made a great effort. Finally got a top 10 this year. I think he finished like 8th. So good on him. Like it was proven you could pass, and the tires did make that better. That is way better than it was in 22, 23. But I saw a lot of people be like, well, this is Martinsville. I don't know what you want at this point. And to that I say, yes, like the dominant guy is Martinsville, but Danny, we've seen races where our guy wins and it's dominant. It's a bad race. We'll call it that way. And we've seen races where guys that maybe we didn't like in the past have won. I think immediately 2013 Auto Club. At the time, I was a huge Dale Jr. fan, was not in the Kyle Busch corner, didn't care they won that race. It was awesome. A lot of people saying, oh, it's Martinsville. You didn't like who won. Well, so I went back and I looked at similar runs. We had a 75 lap run to the finish in this race. And I went back into the last 10 that were similar, and that goes all the way back to 2008. And other than the 550 races and the next gen races, all of those had tons of passes in the top 10 with even tires through the run because they were able to pass each other. So I think that there is plenty of room to be fixing this, and it's not just, oh, this is Martinsville. It's always been awful. And we can get Eric on in this. I'm
back.
The PC is good. We are back.
Yeah, I'll eventually. I'm not technical enough to know what the problem is, but the last couple of weeks it's been it's rough. So might be due for an update or just need some parts replaced.
In the Green Mile where John Coffey goes, "I'm tired, boss." That's what your computer's doing right now.
It's been huffing and puffing lately. Been cranking out content, rendering hours of footage every single day, it feels like. So she's been working hard. I don't blame my PC for wanting to take a break. I'm gonna have to call my tech guy, aka my dad, to figure out what's wrong with it and hopefully get it fixed for next week.
We're talking about the race at Martinsville and the racing itself, which for the most part seemed to got a lukewarm at best response. And I was bringing up how a lot of people are arguing, well, this is just Martinsville, while others are arguing it's not. I'd say it's just Martinsville that the best car dominated and led a ton of laps like Denny did. On the other end, just like last year, I was watching the leaderboard, and for the last 40 laps, outside of Joey Logano on like 30 lap or 40 lap fresher tires, nobody made a pass in the top 12, top 10, that area, even though there were guys with better cars. And I brought it up because I have races all the way back to 2008 spring race that had similar long runs. This one, a 75 lap long run to the finish, where we did see actual good racing to the finish and guys passing each other. 2016's fall race, 114 lap run to the finish. 2018 spring race, battle for the win at the end, and guys going up and down through the top 10, 15, 109 laps to the finish. The only ones that we didn't see this with were the 550 races, and then now 3 of the, I believe, what is it now, 7 next gen races at Martinsville have been 75 laps or longer runs to the finish.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of heard what y'all were saying earlier. I don't have a ton else to add. I thought it was an okay race. It was better than most of the other next gen Martinsville races, but they're only like objectively good. Martinsville next gen race was last fall. And so I think there's reason to be optimistic that, okay, you bring the same tire just a few months later, it's hopefully going to be a similar race. And it was still better than what we saw most of those first couple of years, but there's work to be done. And I heard what you guys said. Yeah, I don't know that Goodyear can go much softer. If they can, go for it. I'm with you, Jared. I'm with you, but I'm with everyone that like it'd be great to see them inject more horsepower into these cars. I understand that they would need to stress test it. There'd be certain parts maybe. Like, I know it's not as easy as literally just cranking it up. Like there's some other modifications they might need to make to the car, but I hope those are explored. Remember a year and a half ago, they brought a whole new like transaxle to Phoenix to test, and then they just never tested it. Like they never actually got it. Like they ran out of time and didn't actually test it. Like there's a lot of hardware out there that they've put R&D into. I'd love to see them actually finish some of that work and try some new things. Not aero. We've exhausted all aero options, and we're close to having exhausted our tire options. So it's shifting. It's the actual wheels themselves. Obviously, we've talked about this for years. They're too wide, too much. In a way, there's like too much mechanical grip now at the short tracks. It's a lot of factors. But I just hope they keep trying. I think they will. I have no reason to believe NASCAR is just going to sit here and like. I would be surprised if this time next year we see the exact same rules package tire combination at Martinsville. I would not be surprised. It might be small tweaks. Shit, maybe it's another aero change that does nothing. But I'll bet they'll try something else between now and next March or April.
Yeah, I kind of brought up before he came back in. It's just, yeah, at some point, Goodyear is just not going to be able to do it anymore. And I think Denny kind of brought that up a bit. Dale Jr.'s brought that up, where it's kind of getting to the point where there need to be other changes. It can't just be Goodyear footing the bill. So, it's better than the race that we were at in 2022. They'll give it that. That was rough. Probably didn't help that it was just a miserable night. Between the rain and the cold, like it's been better since. But kind of shifting to the next topic here, that didn't really affect how many people actually watched this race compared to others in the past. Looking at the ratings here, we were at 2.422 million viewers, which is up 11% from 2024, peaking at almost 2.9 million. So, just under 3 million at the finish for a Martinsville race on cable, the most watched cable telecast on Sunday, and the most watched Martinsville spring race since 2017. I mean, we're looking at like the era that still had Dale Jr. and Jimmy Johnson racing in was the last time we had a cable race at Martinsville this high up. So,
yeah, it's impressive. I mean, it is. I know compared to last year, I think this race ran about a week earlier. So that's going to boost it a tiny bit, but I don't know if that's going to boost it 11%.
No.
So that's very encouraging for sure. And maybe, I mean, look who was up front all day. It was the Denny Hamlins, the Chase Elliott's, the Christopher Bells, Bubba Wallace's, big name drivers that, haven't won in a while in some cases. Seeing them up front, I think, maybe helped keep people hooked.
Well, and the double-digit gains didn't just come for the Cup Series. It came at the Xfinity as well, getting just over 1 million viewers, up 19% year over year from last year's comparable Martinsville race. And the first time since
to tune into.
And the first time since 2017 that the first 7 races topped 1 million viewers. So the first time in 8 years that's happened. Now you got to remember, 2017 doesn't seem like it was 8 years ago. That's pre-NWP.
Yeah, gosh, that's true.
Like, I will say this, about the CW change. I know it's getting a lot of flack right now because their app situation is not ideal, but granted, not all places are getting all the CW races, and I understand that. CW is a channel that is accessible by just having an antenna and not having to worry about paying for a cable package. My mom is someone who she only pays for internet, and she has an antenna, and she has texted me a few times that she's watching an Xfinity race because it is something good on her antenna she can pick up. So they are exposing themselves to a little bit more people that aren't necessarily wanting to pay for a big streaming or cable package. So I know there's still some things to be ironed out with CW, but there is an advantage of having them right now.
Yeah. And, people are bringing up the possibility of NHRA going over there. Sounds like CW is really interested there on that end.
They're trying to get out of that Fox deal.
That might actually be something that they could dedicate more live coverage to NHRA, because if they don't have really much, what are they going to do? Say, oh, we got to air reruns of Young Sheldon and King of the Hill on here instead. I mean,
it'd be good on their part, NHRA wise, because the NASCAR and IndyCar stuff is going to overshadow it. But long term, if this is sustainable and they're able to iron out the app stuff, iron out a lot of that kind of deal, and have everyone on the same page, asking a lot, but 7 years worth is a lot of time to be able to fix that. Be honest, I wouldn't be opposed to having Cup races on there. It'd be better than forcing them to FS1. Like, be better than and especially if it builds up the sports presence too, which sounds like, football among other sports. Like, it sounds like they want to be one of the guys up there with Fox, NBC, ABC, all of them.
I kind of like the idea of the Braden bunch 58, possibility maybe one day if they add enough live sports and just go that direction, maybe it could be rebranded to a new, like just more of a sports dedicated network. They brought up the name Sports Nation, but
I thought that was
not a bad idea.
There used to be a show on ESPN.
That's what I'm probably thinking of.
That's just their idea of a name. They could brainstorm something better, I'm sure, but that's not a bad idea to go for more of a what's the word, open air kind of sports network like that.
I'd be down. Something else I'm down with is looking into the poll. 11,000 voted on the poll this week for this Cup race at Martinsville, the spring Martinsville race. 8% saying great, 52% saying good. Net positivity is 60%, 33 average. 7% were negative about this race. And going to the poll data, now that I can pull it up, this is the first race this year that has not cracked 80% positive on the poll. So lowest voted of the year. And when it comes to Martinsville races, I'll scroll all the way down to it. This race ranks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th out of 12 Martinsville races, only beating 2019's fall race and the last 3 spring races.
I think that's fair. I mean, this was not the worst Martinsville race by any means, nor was it a spectacular one.
Yeah, it's about right.
Again, I was there in 2022. That was probably the worst Martinsville race I've ever watched.
Same. And it was my first in-person experience. I felt so cheated.
Oh, damn, that's right.
I was cold.
He was like, just get me more hot dogs.
I was miserable. Jared had a backpack full of hot dogs and
beer.
As we've established, I don't really like hot dogs. I gave them a shot. They're fine. But I'm not a hot dog guy. So I wasn't even like, it was miserable out there, man.
The only positive I took from that many hot dogs in my backpack was the fact that, because I have 2 separate pockets in it. So I had one pocket that was insulated that I could keep all the beer in that kept it cold. And the other one was insulated and it had so many hot dogs with all the aluminum foil that it kept it warm and hot. And so I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'm having a great time.
Eric needs a racetrack to not do hot dogs cheap. Just walk up to a thing and be like, just get one chicken tender for $1. Just get as many chicken tenders as you want. Just keep coming up getting chicken tenders. That's what Eric needs.
The best thing was when Texas Motor Speedway had a Torchy's tacos in the garage area. Oh, that was, I don't know, non-Texas people probably don't know Torchy's. I don't know how widespread it is, but that was bussin'. But now it's something else now. They rebranded it.
So I think that wasn't there when we came, but you took us to a Torchy. That was the first experience we had with Torchy's, and
that's right.
It was pretty good. And they now actually have one in Nashville, so they are expanding slowly but surely.
Love it.
Now, when it comes to how people talked about this race, first comment came from Tank Slapper. Is it positive, negative, or meme?
Meme.
Hamlin fans, enjoy this while it lasts because you never know when the last win will be.
Oh, that wasn't really mean. That was actually kind of like bittersweet.
Sentimental.
Yeah, I saw somebody bring up, it's because he had tied Rusty Wallace for 11th all time, and Rusty's last win came in a blue car at Martinsville. And I was just like,
but I think they said he was 47 or 48 years old. Denny's only 44. So, I mean, maybe we could adjust for inflation or deflation. I don't know. But
adjust for a NASCAR lawsuit.
Yeah.
Those added years to his life, or took years off his life. So maybe he's like closer to it. Now looking at some of the comments here, Wizard King Nick said, Denny saved on his tires with Progressive. I knew there was going to be one of those. So Phineas Flynn says, I think that banner was Denny taking a veiled shot at NASCAR since this was his first win since the lawsuit. The world is the France family in NASCAR.
I mean, at the time of a race just happening, I could get that, but we now know what the real meaning was behind that flag and stuff.
I think you could look at it as it's everything. It's all of the above. It's a lot of fans don't like him. A lot of, obviously he's at odds with the sanctioning body. I think it's the world. The world is everyone.
The world is this show. We are against them, guys.
Yeah.
The world is a vampire. Foolish Banana.
You get demonetized for that.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not that good of a singer. I'm not a good singer at all. Foolish Banana, though, says, after the nonsense we saw on Friday and Saturday, I'll gladly take what I thought was a mid-cup race. Mid is better than clown
very
show.
Fair.
The big thing, and we might talk about this with Xfinity, was at least the integrity of the race itself never crumbled the way it seemed it did by the end of the Xfinity race. By the end of the Xfinity race, I didn't feel like anyone in the top 5 or who finished up there deserved to be up there. Austin Hill, I mean, he wins the race, but like, I didn't feel good that he won the race. He caused like 4 wrecks earlier in the day. So at least we didn't have to question the cup race in that respect. So,
and honestly, it's kind of funny. I feel like of all the cup drivers who were, talking about what went down in that cup race or anybody, Denny was definitely probably the most vocal I saw on Twitter of his reaction to it. So now it's kind of funny though, that then he was just like the next day, let me show these guys how it's done.
Basically, that's a good point.
Ricky 101 says, too bad with Josh Berry. He was looking good before the battery problem. Yeah, he was
fine.
Again, once you lost track position, it was so tough to make it back up there unless you had some alternate strategy and new tires.
A lot of guys were looking good early on that didn't have the finish that they probably deserved. I think Bowman was up there for a little bit, and then he had his issues and didn't work it out.
The thing with Bowman to me was the call to stay out multiple times when it was proven that tires were so important. Like that just was kind of just baffling to me.
Yeah, I think it's getting to the point where his crew is not getting him where he needs to be. It feels like.
Joey Legoat says, holy crap, what a drive for Logano on the last run. P25 to P8 at the finish. Another week that Logano could have won, taken away by late race shenanigans. Glad Joey got back by the 19 at the end. So for any of you that say, I just hate Joey Logano, he just hates Joey Logano. They all hate Joey Logano. They're just, no. He's a damn good driver, and he deserves his props on this one. Good strategy, yes, but he had to drive all the way up past, 17 lead lap cars, not to mention the lappers. So
yeah, I mean, it was a very impressive drive. I hate to rain on that comments parade. He wasn't winning that race. He was on his top 3 car. He was maybe a 5th place car by the end. I'll give him that.
He probably should have had a top 5.
Yeah, I think if he doesn't get spun, he would have contended for like 5th or 6th, which would be a really good day. He still ended up 8th. Still a good day. And
at that point, I think he needed it.
Yeah.
Thomas, let's see. How did he say this name? Thomas Pondles, New York, or Pondles name?
The tank engine?
Thomas. We're just gonna call you Thomas here.
Tomas.
Race only ended a few hours ago, and I already forgot it happened. At least Blaney finally finished a race.
He's one of the few Penske guys that did not have terminal issues this week, ironically.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sphered Hawk says, that's all I have. So
sounded like a hawk.
Yeah. You know the sound that's always used in stock footage and they always use for eagles, that like really loud screech? That's actually like a red-tailed hawk.
Oh, that's very disappointing.
Yeah, eagle
has me questioning what a kilometer is.
Yeah, eagle sounds just a little bit different.
Wow.
Let's get to the gutter. That's never different. That's always interesting. 48 Nation says Xfinity race was dog bleep. Cup race was dog bleep. At least, or glad we go to Darlington. A lot of people did not like.
I don't see anything wrong with that. I mean, that's nothing, not a false statement.
Cito was downvoted this week.
Oh, Cito, what'd you do?
Oh, no, what'd he do?
All that for another Hacklin win.
Oh.
Well, that's probably the Denny fans coming after him.
Hey, he's part of the world that the 11 is apparently against.
Well, I'm going to say this. I don't think that Denny is a villain anymore. He's an anti-hero. People hate agreeing with him, but his podcast has opened up his personality so much more to people that it's like, I don't like when he wins, but I kind of like the guy.
In superhero comparisons, he's like a Magneto, a very justified villain in what he does.
He causes mischief, wherever he goes. He's embraces the drama no matter what side of it he's on.
We got one saying Magneto, the other is alluding to Loki here.
I'm not familiar, but I'm just thinking, like, we're less than a year removed from Denny getting into a midnight Twitter war with Marcus Smith. Remember when that happened? Like,
yeah.
Like he's still like, he'll poke the bear out of nowhere sometimes, And then I think he's entertaining. I'm very like on the fence when it comes to Denny. He says things I agree with. He says things I'm like, I think he's just wildly interesting.
And then the lowest voted one was from, I think it's SU6060, who just said, I hate when Hamlin. Nothing else.
I also hate when Hamlin anything. Yes. Mm-hmm.
You ever Hamlin and you just hate it?
Oh man, there's sometimes you just can't help it. You Hamlin. It's like, remember the first time you just Hamlin?
How could I forget?
Oh man. So that was the poll. That was the cup side of things. Guys, we spent
way too long on cup considering what we're about to do for Xfinity.
Okay. Let's just get this out of the way right now. Austin Hill won the race.
He did on paper. Yes.
He won
he was kind of a bully. He was not the big bully.
He was like the Robin to Sammy Smith's Batman.
And also, I believe Brendan Poole got a top 5.
He did, and that was huge. That was very exciting.
Now that we got the finishing out of the way, let's talk about the finish of the race. Because my God, that was just the culmination of like the rest of the race. You could at least make an excuse for if it ended normal. Like, oh, okay, it's just like an extra sloppy Martinsville race, a bunch of one-car spins and guys running each other over. Like, it's extra sloppy, but if the finish was okay, people would be like, yeah, but it wasn't that awful.
Yeah.
And then the finish just came in Negan style with a freaking baseball bat and bashed it upside the head.
I don't know what I've seen and read and heard Sammy Smith's interviews. I don't know what he was thinking. Does he hate Taylor Gray that much? Was he that mad he got flipped off under caution? Or is he that desperate for a win because he knows he's probably not winning many races this year? He's not that good, guys.
I think a lot of this desperation.
It's just like, Taylor Gray is controlling this race fair and square, restart after restart after restart after restart. And then Sammy decides, all right, I'm going to move you. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a little ballsy, but I get it. It's Martinsville. Okay, you move him. You can't be mad when he moves you back. And Taylor Gray, when he moved Sammy Smith, did it about as cleanly. He just nudged him up so that they could race door to door, and then he finished him off cleanly. Like for Sammy to get beat straight up like that, and then to just completely overdrive the corner, just go in with reckless abandon and KO the guy. I said this earlier, never driven a race car. I can't fathom thinking like that while behind the wheel of a 3,000-pound stock car going over 100 miles per hour. I just can't even imagine road raging that hard in the moment, knowing that everyone's watching this. I can't. I'm shocked. I was shocked he did it. It honestly caught me off guard. I actually missed it the first time because I wasn't expecting it. I was looking down at Twitter, or I was like, I don't know, I wasn't looking at that. And then all of a sudden I look up and see Taylor Gray spinning. And I'm like, and so then I had to see the replay. When I saw the replay, I realized, what is he doing? Anyway.
Well, you cost your teammate the win. You cost your teammate $100,000 too.
Exactly. No big picture thinking, no self-awareness. Just, I'm going to plow through this guy because that's my only way into the playoffs. It's like, man, you're that desperate. You're that bad everywhere else that you got to dive bomb this chance at Martinsville. Oh my goodness.
And the bad thing is in this, I always think of like a cup comparison. I think it's, a huge honor for Austin Cindric to be the one bearing that number 2 for Team Penske. That's kind of like the flagship number for that team. At Junior Motorsports, there are now 2 flagship numbers now that Junior's been able to get the correct font for the 8. So you have the 8 and you have the 88. If he trusts a young man to be put into the car with a number that would represent his career, that should say a lot. And you're out there, representing, his probably most iconic, his original number out there. You're the first driver he's let drive that font. And then you go out and you do that. That just kind of puts a bad image on his brand in.
And I'm looking back at my notes that I took during the race. I take notes during every race because I want to make sure I can look back in the moment, what I was thinking. And I'm writing the restarts down. And this thing too, the last stage of the race, I was looking back at it, and I think the longest green flag run was like 8 laps or something, or like 12, or it was something like that. No, it was 15 laps. Hell yeah, hang the banner. We made it 15 laps under green. I can't, it won't show up on screen because of all the light, but multiple times, restart, 18 versus 54. Restart 8 versus 54, 8 versus 54, 8 versus 54, over and over again. It turns into the 54 and the 8. I saw people, and granted, not as many as the people calling this stuff out, but I saw people who are like, I've been watching for 40 years and this is fine. I don't get why people are upset with this. And it's like, no, this is like, last time Martinsville was this bad in an Xfinity race, they lost it for like 15 years or whatever it was. And I'm not advocating for Martinsville to get taken away because I think the 2 lower series are the only ones at the moment capable of consistently having actual good racing before they destroy each other. But all of those restarts, I didn't see a damn thing that Taylor Gray really did wrong. And, a lot of people clowned JGR for bringing him up to Xfinity. And he was probably the one who ran with his head on straight the most of the race.
Like, those old fans who are like, oh, I've been watching this for 40 years. This is fine. When those people were watching NASCAR, back in the day, and yes, that was pretty common. You got to think of this. Back then, on the actual race itself, that was the only seat time that these guys got. Like, we are now in an era where these younger drivers should really have no excuse to be making mistakes like this. You can practice basic racing etiquette in your bedroom now during the week on iRacing or whatever it might be.
Or the sim. They have the sim too that they can learn the
sim.
track more.
Like, I know
They should have practice.
There's no replacement for actual seat time, but you can learn basic racing etiquette during the week and perfect that.
I would push back and say actually the rise of sim racing has hurt racing etiquette because now you're out there making no consequences. And so I'm not one of those people that says, violence in video games necessarily translates to violence in real life, but certainly you become, what's the word? It's you disassociate somewhat, if you spend enough time racing a certain way in the sim and now you're behind the wheel of a real car, you know what I mean? Like the brain is a funny thing. I'm just saying it all stems from a general lack of respect for the track you're racing at, lack of respect for the series you're racing in, your competitors around you, the equipment you are controlling, and the amount of money, time, and energy that's gone into getting that car on track. And I think Joey Logano said it best. A lot of these guys in Xfinity and the best cars are paying big money to be there. Mm-hmm. Like they have the utmost job security because they have a big check it's a never-ending spigot of money that these teams desperately need, which is why Dale Earnhardt Jr. would never move Sammy Smith from that seat, would never personally suspend him. It would make it just,
he wouldn't publicly criticize him. I wouldn't think. I didn't watch Dale Jr. download yet because I've been busy all week, but I'm assuming he didn't go hard at him the way he's went at Ty Gibbs in the past.
I haven't heard either, but I don't, so I can't speak to that. But I'm just saying, that's the problem ultimately. Is you look at the drivers who I thought were the biggest offenders Saturday night. Sam Mayer just drove through Christian Eckes for no reason. He had nobody behind him. He could have lifted and let the guy catch his car. Instead, he just wrecked him. Sam Mayer, he's got funding. That's why he keeps going from great team to great team to great team. Who is the other? Austin Hill, United Rentals, Bennett. He's got huge funding. That's why he's able to do some cup races on the side. I mean, he at one point just drove through the inside lane and wrecked the car 4 guys up, wrecked his teammate as a result. And then, of course, Sammy Smith, the pilot flying J Money. I don't know the exact connection there, but between Gibbs, JRM, clearly there's a connection there. He's got cash behind him. That's just the name of the game in these top Xfinity Series seats. And when you have drivers like that, they're not going to respect their equipment because they've never really had to before. So that's part of why I should say I believe was good of NASCAR to step in today and issue a penalty to Sammy Smith. Let everyone know that, hey, you can't just straight up crash the leader to try and win. You can't just overdrive the corner, make a non-racing move and expect that to fly. I think it was good to set that standard. We can debate whether they should make that decision on Tuesday or if they should have the nerve to make the decision Saturday or Sunday night in the moment. That's a separate conversation, but I am glad they attempted to draw that line in the sand this week.
Well, it sounds like Dale Jr. at least called him out. Sounds like he called others out and sort of what about this too and all that, whatever. Good. He should. I think honestly, and I don't think that this is just an us problem. I don't think it's a Dale Jr. problem or anyone in particular. I think it's a NASCAR media issue. We need to call people out more, not just say, okay, that wasn't the right move. No, if somebody's being an idiot and acting like an idiot, there's a difference between acting like an idiot and being an idiot. They're acting like an idiot out there. In your own professional ways, we need to say that more. And I think we've done a pretty good job. I know Saturday night I went off did not rant in the sense of where I would have 5 years ago. But I think
it's easier for us because sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's easier for us because we're independent. We work for ourselves. We don't, contrary to what some in our comment section may believe, none of us are paid by NASCAR or any of the teams in any way, shape, or form. But that's why it was kind of refreshing to hear Mike Joy, Harvick, and Boyer actually call some of that out on the Fox broadcast Sunday. Kligerman and McMurray, they tiptoed around it a bit. They admitted that, hey, they didn't like some of what they saw, but they were very careful about their word choice. I get it, but that's what you're getting at, Jared, is it's those mainstream media personalities, commentators, etc. I think are often afraid to say anything too critical. It used to be one of my biggest pet peeves. Oh, so-and-so just got loose. Do you ever think that so-and-so got loose because they made a mistake? Sometimes the car just sucks. Sometimes you overdrive it and get loose. Eric Almirola didn't get loose at Phoenix. He overdrove the corner and stuffed Alex Bowman in the wall. He admitted it afterwards. He didn't get loose. he did it on purpose. You know what I mean? Like there's the NASCAR TV likes to play with their words like that. And it's frustrating because like you said, Jared, I wish they just tell it. Yeah. Tell it like it is. No, 100%. No, I think you're right.
Could you ever see Charles Barkley or Shaquille O'Neal see somebody do something stupid as hell out there and just be like, well, you know, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. No, you wouldn't see that. You wouldn't see that. You'd be like,
no, they get in trouble sometimes for being, they get in trouble sometimes for being too negative and calling people out too much. So
it's like, and I love what Mike Joyce said. I put that on the screen of the dumpster fire comment because it's true. It is true. And I'm like, I'm going to use that as an insult at some point, like in my everyday life.
We used to have a mainstream commentary that would do this. We had guys like Jimmy Spencer who would call out the idiocracy that was happening because he had been in that seat before. He had been right there. He wasn't afraid to call out, these guys when he raced, and he definitely wasn't afraid once he had a microphone in front of his face either. And it wasn't just him. He's just probably the best example of that time period. But
Jeff Hammond used to call people out a lot. Larry Mack did.
We do this like every other week. We go down the glory days of the Speed Network, but everything on Speed Channel, usually when they had like a talk show kind of thing going on, where it was Trackside Live, race day built by Home Depot, they would have times when they just told it how it was and called out, what was that going on.
Do y'all think that public shaming is the number one way to get guys kind of, back in line? Or do you think the penalty NASCAR handed out is a better course?
So NASCAR getting involved definitely will get the owner's attention more, I'd say.
So I think we should pivot to the solution part of it, because I think we all agree we don't like what we saw.
Went too far. Yes. Not good.
The public shaming part, I think, isn't for the drivers now. I think it's for the drivers coming up. Like, I'm sorry, if I'm 17, 18 years old and I've looked up to Mike Joy my whole life, and then like I hear that and it's like, oh, if he talks about me that way, like I'm gonna feel horrible. Like I was just thinking like this: if I were a driver and I'm like 16 and I do something like that at the local short track, which is something that's more common. A lot of short track drivers have talked about younger drivers acting like that more and more because they see it on TV every Sunday, or not maybe every Sunday, but Saturdays and Fridays, and sometimes on Sundays, like in Austin Dillon's case last year. I think the public shaming part and making it a point that like you're not going to be this hero and people aren't going to like that, I think that is definitely something for people long term. The penalty, I think it'll be something for now, but didn't do anything, and Austin Dillon did it. We saw it happen again in the Xfinity series. I think that it's a tougher, longer term issue to fix. I know like Parker Kligerman and Landon Castle talked about it on their podcast a bit, and I don't think it's, the more I think and look into it, the more I don't think it's a one fix all kind of thing anymore. I think it's ingrained. I think it's the car. I think it's the format. I think it's the drivers. I think it's the system that is set up with the business model that, like, if Dale Jr. sits Sammy Smith for a week and Pilot gets mad and says, I'm going to take my Nepo baby money somewhere else, Dale Jr. and that 8 team is out of funding.
They shut down.
Yes.
Most likely, at least temporarily. Yeah. No, I'm with you. It's a number of factors. I like you're saying, I agree. The format contributes to this. The car, especially the bumpers on the Xfinity and Cup cars being indestructible, contributes to this. Like, there are a number of factors that contribute to this, but I do think you brought up the Austin Dillon thing. The only thing I'll say there is NASCAR, it was ambiguous after the Dillon deal. Was he penalized because of the hook or the Logano contact? It was unclear. So that's why I don't fully blame Sammy for pushing the issue if he was truly that desperate to make the playoffs. I just hate desperate moves like that. But that's why I think the penalty was necessary. That's why I think NASCAR does have to step in as much as they don't want to, is they created a format and they created a car that incentivizes these kinds of desperate moves. And they haven't been clear in the past of where the line is. Today or this week was them trying to establish where the line is. And ultimately, I think, well, as much as I hate gray area calls coming from faceless race control, sometimes you got to make them to restore order, to somewhat curb the culture your decisions have fostered over the past few years. I'm with you, Jared. It won't be It's not going to change it overnight, but I think what they called against Sammy, and if they continue to call penalties for overzealous moves going forward, I think that will pretty quickly get things back where they need to be.
The most bizarre thing really about all this, I'm looking at another screen here at the career Sammy Smith. This is his third Xfinity Series season. I think he had 1 year of JGR, and now this is on his second year with Junior Motorsports. He's had 2 wins. This is a driver with clearly there's talent there, but we also acknowledge the fact that there's a lot of maturing that still has to happen with Sammy Smith.
Well, and Sammy Smith is going to be the poster child for this afterwards, and I will talk for a moment after this about just the others that were involved, and kind of like, because there's a few that I think can be much better drivers than they showed. But the thing for me is, like, I don't want NASCAR to have to get too much more involved than they have to, other than maybe calling it during the race. Maybe that's doing what you do at a short track and putting somebody to the back or something like that, of the lead lap or the field or whatever. That can be more of an argument. I just, like, a lot of people are talking about like what was, I don't remember the exact terminology they were using, but basically like aggressive driving, rule.
I think it's called like a rough driving penalty is, I think, what they've phrased in the past.
But there was, what was the Denny Hamlin brought up, like an even more extreme way of like going about it, where it was like, the chat will probably,
I don't remember what, I don't remember what he's,
I don't think that we need to have it like hyper managed excessive driving, or like aggressive driving penalties, avoidable contact. Thank you, Hamlin fanatic. Avoidable contact.
Yep, that's right.
Because at that point, if we're making every single one subjective, gray area, all of that, like that you're starting to take stuff away from NASCAR at that point. Like, I think that the driver should handle it amongst themselves a lot of the times, like whether that's during the race or especially in the garage after. But from the sounds of all the veterans, they basically went, not my problem. They can't be helped. And I think that mentality with the older drivers too. Kyle Busch was kind of like that. Justin Allgaier was kind of like that. Like, no, this is as an older driver in the garage, I think it is your responsibility to whip people in line. And if you're not assertive enough to do that, you need to work on that. Like, or
suffer the consequences. Like that's when Kyle Busch made those kind of flippant comments. I felt I was just surprised because, like, last year he got in Christopher Bell's face. You've been racing me like an asshole. Like, I'm going to call you out for it. And then the very next year at Coda, Bell raced him a lot cleaner, and it like worked to Busch's favor, I felt. So like you got to be willing to confront these guys. I'll give Jeb Burton some credit. I know he got fined $5,000 for storming into the infield care center and apparently wreaking havoc, but at least he tried to send a message. He's a veteran. He's 32, 33 years old. I think he counts as a veteran at this point. He tried to do something about it, a little old school. That's where I'm at. Is it's like, I don't want NASCAR making more calls. And like Kevin Harvick had the strongest take. He was very much like, if you cause any wreck, go to the rear. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm not there. I'm at the point where I'd settle for just Austin Dillon, Sammy Smith, Austin Cindric right hooking at Coda. Those moves that are obvious to anyone with eyes, call that in the moment. If when Austin Hill kind of overdrove and shunted the whole inside lane, if you're not 100% ready to make that call, okay, we don't have to make that call. I'm fine with that. But the obvious stuff, the Sammy Smiths, the Austin Dillons, the Austin Cindric at Coda, the obvious stuff needs to get called within minutes of the actual incident. I think that will send a pretty clear message, and I don't think that's NASCAR overstepping, because we don't even know what we're allowed to self-police anymore. Denny Hamlin self-policed Ross Chastain, mentioned it on his podcast, and got a 50-point or 25-point penalty. Like, I'm scared to self-police. You can confront someone, but if you throw a punch, you get fined $75,000 like Ricky Stenhouse did. If you do it in the wrong place, if you do it in the infield care center, you get fined like Taylor Gray and Jeb Burton. So there's so many rules already around how you self-police. I say NASCAR just needs to have the nerve to make a few more calls from the tower, and I think that'll settle some of this.
Well, and it wasn't just like it was just Xfinity too, and it wasn't just Sammy Smith. Like, to me, Sam Mayer, he's been in Xfinity like 5 years now.
It's been a little while.
I love Sam. He's a friend of the show. He was on here before he was even in NASCAR in the top 3 series. He's got to get together. He's a better driver than that. Sammy Smith has shown, like you said, Danny, he's a better driver than what he showed out there. Austin Hill, I know people hate him. way better driver than that. And it's just disappointing too.
Yeah, Sam Mayer, I think when we were first starting to hear his name, he seemed like he had enough potential. We thought he'd be in Cup by now, I feel like.
He thought he'd be in Cup by now, by the way he was talking the last year or two.
Yeah, but he's not. And I'm with you guys. I'm not impressed with already on the skill side. There's a lack of consistency that I think is certainly cause for some concern. But now, yeah, it's last week mistiming the restart and jacking up Kyle Larson. Like, I didn't love that. I thought that was dumb, cost them both multiple positions. And then this weekend, just not getting off of I think it was Christian Eckes. It's just like little mistakes like that you'd expect a wide-eyed, really hungry rookie to make, not a 4th or 5th year guy at this point. That's the part that's a little disappointing.
Now on the truck side, I felt like the truck race was decent until like the last third. And then just a lot of pushing. Some of them, I think, I can actually believe that Majeski overcooked it into the corner and caused that incident when they got all together, and the others kind of I think it was when Heim had the flat. That's not anyone's fault. He had a flat tire because of contact.
Yeah, it was, Honeycutt raced him close. Great. You can be a little annoyed with Honeycutt and maybe bump him a little next time. But yeah, it wasn't, I don't think it was intentional or malicious. It was just a bad break again for Heim. That's 2 weeks in a row, man, where he should, not to play this game again, but he should have 4 wins this year. And instead he's got 2, I think. He's dominated basically every race.
Take
every race but Atlanta
away.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe
one. It balances out, maybe, but I'm just saying he's dominated 3 or 4 races, already this year in trucks.
But I honestly didn't think it was that much of a gong show, like a lot of other people were saying. I don't think it compared in any way to the Xfinity race, and maybe that's just because we didn't have complete stupidity in every single way. We actually had a small run to the finish in that race, and Daniel Hemric won. I feel so bad for him. He gets a win. He's finally he got a win in the truck that LaJoy turned down. Everyone pointed out too. Sorry, just put the old barb in there, but he got the win, and he's in the playoffs. He's in a lot of ways kind of reset his career. Hemric has, and got an awesome backflip, all of that, and nobody's talking about it. They're all just talking about the Xfinity race or the crashes or the Cup package.
People give him some credit. I mean, it was so long ago. It was 5 days ago now.
Fair enough.
So it was a while ago. But people gave him his credit because it was a popular win. I thought it was really cool seeing Blaney was so excited for him on the front stretch afterwards. And then there were other drivers that either tweeted or came up to congratulate him who had nothing but positive things to say. They're, young guys. Look at Daniel Hemric, Xfinity Series champion, super well respected throughout the garage, clean racer. It pays sometimes to have a good reputation. I know they say you bring your friends to the racetrack, but I'm sure life is a little easier if you're not walking on pins and needles around everyone in the garage. If you want an example of a clean reputation, more or less, that's Daniel Hemric. And look how excited everybody was when he got himself a truck win.
And he earned it too. I mean, he made it past his teammate pretty fair and square.
And how about that about Tyler Ankrum, guys? This guy has he has 1 truck win, but he has a solid truck, but he is not finding ways to close it out and get the win that he's probably been due for a while.
To be fair, we did talk about he hasn't been up front in a while last week. And then he pops up at the end of this race and runs for the win. So a little better at least.
Podcast boost there. Well, isn't his only truck win? Didn't it come 6 years ago at Kentucky?
Yeah,
hasn't been on the schedule in years.
So no one was there.
Yeah, that's been a while.
Right. Well, still improvement, actual improvement.
Yeah. By the way, thinking of speedways and stuff, I am keeping track on the weather. It's a little northwest of Indianapolis Motor Speedway right now, but there is a tornado warning not too far away from Indianapolis Motor Speedway right now.
When it was just last week that one just went just south of Chicagoland too, and all the stuff around there. So wishing the best for everybody out there. Let's get on in though, since I think we're good I think we're good on Martinsville. We're good. Yeah. Thumbs up.
Yep.
Be all good. Yeah.
I'm satisfied of Martinsville talk.
All right. Well, let's get into the first super chat stage break. I appreciate everybody for waiting here. There were a couple that were sent in beforehand from Napa Racing. First one for the 5 here says this Sunday on Fox, instead of NASCAR, live golf at Miami and college basketball crown final or second or third tier tournament to the big one. And then says for the 2 Team Penske batteries not included. SW here says let the battle of mid, legacy, and rare, I think you meant Rick Ware, begin. So we'll talk about that.
I like my steaks cooked Rick Rare.
Rick Rare. Alex here for the 5. Honestly, I missed the last laps of the race because I was at a Gabriel Iglesias show. Probably enjoyed it.
That's a good excuse.
That's very random, but sweet.
Sly,
I did have to catch up on the race because I was in Washington, D.C. and Baltimore this weekend, so I get that.
Sly Supersonic for the 383 says, looks like NASCAR grew a backbone for once today. Are we talking about the penalty yesterday?
I assume we're talking about the penalty.
Yeah.
They've made a lot. They've made some tough penalty calls in the past, but this one, I just don't like that they wait until Tuesday and it feels like they're gauging public opinion the whole time. And I don't like the idea. I know we're all fans and we like to NASCAR do what we say. I don't love the idea that fans are effectively making the call in some of these. And that's how it feels. I do feel like public pressure gets to them.
Yeah, because you wouldn't see, I'm about to say, you wouldn't see a football referee take incentive from the fans, but then again, I saw something go down in that Texas-Georgia game after Texas fans got mad and started throwing trash on the field. So
they had a good reason.
Logan King here says, unfortunately, Corey Day is washed. I'm not gonna say he's washed.
Wait, what? Washed?
I'm not gonna say he's washed, but I'm gonna be honest.
He's 18
and way over his head. He looked out of control for all the wrong reasons.
I mean, yeah, he hasn't looked good. No, I'll give you that. He has not looked good. He's 19. He has not looked good in stock cars yet across the board. I remember a couple of races, maybe it was the end of last year or beginning of this year as well. It was like Zilich and Day both in the field. I'm like, oh, that's a battle head-to-head to watch. And then like Zilich is 12 positions better the whole day. And I'm like, oh, never mind.
You have Kyle Larson sponsor. You need to be as good as Kyle Larson. Come on, what are you doing?
I want to get as many here as we can. Yeah. First one from Snappy, or next one from Snappy for the 20. Catching the beginning from one of the 7 seats next to the New York Rangers bench at MSG in New York City right now, wearing a Wood Brothers hat. This is surreal. Love you, boys. NWP, the People's Race Day. Have a great night, y'all.
You have a great night. That sounds awesome. You got great seats.
Is the baseball game that boring that you're watching us right now? I mean, wow.
The MSG, I think it's a hockey game.
I want to, I think
it
is.
I'm sorry. I thought that was hockey. I thought that was baseball.
Not the Texas Rangers.
No. Let's get 3 more here. Denver Thurston for the, I believe Australian 5. I always mess this one up, any of those up. But should NASCAR introduce a driver standard advisor or referee for Xfinity and Craftsman trucks?
Just let Mark Martin sit up in the booth. No, he might be a little too extreme. We need someone a little more balanced because he's going to be. If you nudge somebody, he's going to be like, "I'm watching you."
I don't think we need more rules. If we can avoid it, let's not make more rules.
I think Michael Waltrip should take that job. If you touch Danny, die.
Oh, God,
you die.
You're not to get cracked. Chris for the 5 says things that won't happen. NASCAR grow a spine, Junior gets a charter, Denny wins a title, and the Vikings win a Super Bowl. I'm not saying the rest of that though, because it's still my channel, but I appreciate the super chat, and I'm going to be that obnoxious ass Vikings fan when we get a Super Bowl. Last one here for this super chat stage break from Andrew Winslow for the 5. Sammy Smith and Sam Mayer are the lol cows of the week. As punishment, they must wear a get along shirt at all weekend at Darlington.
Why can't we be
friends? He changed his profile picture, didn't he?
Well, when half of that show was accused of
that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. And plus, we got Sheev, baby. We got Sheev Palpatine. And you know what Sheev likes to have? He likes lightning coming out of his fingers, like we have for
There's enough lightning in the sky this week.
Yeah, but I like lightning from Sheev. let's get into it really quick. Of course, we do have and thank you for that, Hunter Nixon. Thank you. We will read that for sure. Damn. I appreciate it.
0-6. Woo! I thought my Astros were off to a bad start. 0-6 for the Braves. What's going on in Georgia?
At least you have Georgia football, Hunter.
Man.
First off, we have the NWP channel, by the way. Episode replays, specials. Try and get some more clips out there for a lot of you guys too that have been asking. Some other news here. A lot of news on the TV and broadcasting side. Racer has bought Mav TV and will rebrand it to the Racer Network. So big brands coming together in the racing side. I think
that's a good move because never really knew what Mav meant. Now, if you're just to the casual person, Racer, that must be racing. That like sounds better.
It's good branding.
Speed. I am speed. The NASCAR Canada series will be live all year on YouTube for its races. So very accessible. I like it. It's a test.
Channel or the NASCAR?
I think it's the NASCAR YouTube channel.
That makes a lot of sense. They are pushing a lot to revamp the YouTube channel for NASCAR from everything I've been hearing. So that's a good thing.
Adam Stern even posted something about it today. NASCAR says the build time for the Chicago street race will be cut down to 25 days, 42% decrease from the first year that they had it. So like, if it was like the first year, you'd go in the middle of May and Grant Park's already closed off for a lot of the NASCAR stuff, where now you go the first week or so of June and they're just starting it up. That's a huge difference, especially for like Memorial Day weekend when a lot of people will be out there. So, and that's great for NASCAR for other cities too. FS1 and Flow Racing will be broadcasting the Cars Tour race Friday, May 16th. So that's a pretty big deal for them. We got Dale Jr. and Kevin Harvick in the booth, and Eric Brennan will be the play-by-play announcer. I'm a huge proponent that he needs to have as many opportunities as possible because he's awesome.
What track is that going to be? Is it Wilkesboro?
North Wilkesboro. Yeah. Okay. So full weekend of
all-star prelim.
FS1 has the full Wilkesboro weekend with Cars Tour, truck race, and the all-star race. So good stuff. Prime Video going to have a documentary next year centered around Kyle Larson's 2024 and 2025 double attempts. They're calling it Hendrick 1100 from the sounds of it. Prime is going all in.
If it goes well compared to last year, it'll be good content. If it doesn't, probably still be interesting.
I think it'll be interesting either way. But I'm going to say something that might be unpopular. This is a great thing that they're planning. We do not need any more freaking Dale Earnhardt documentaries. That's not growing the sport anymore. Lemon got the final word. Let's talk about the stars we have today. I don't need another Dale Senior story.
And let's not take 5 years to get it out. Netflix, where is it? Did you not film something last year?
You know what I feel like with Dale Earnhardt stuff at this point? And as much, and I respect Dale Earnhardt as a driver.
Oh, sure. Of course we all do.
He's no one else like him in the sport for the impact he had. But you know what? I think of one SpongeBob scene when I think of like the Dale Earnhardt documentaries. Am I really going to defile a grave for money? Of course I am. Like it's okay, guys. What new stuff? Okay, unless it's Dale Jr. putting something out there about his father. What are we really going to know from Dale Earnhardt that anyone else hasn't already said at this point? Unless they're just making shit up.
I'm pretty certain, at least I ran out of video topics about Dale Earnhardt years ago. At this point, I couldn't do another one that hasn't been done by me or one of you guys.
If there's truly not something new and interesting to say about Dale Earnhardt, just spend the money elsewhere. I'm thrilled that they're doing something about Kyle Larson, who's an American racing icon here today in his prime. Like that's the stuff that I think is going to grow the sport. If you want to learn about Dale Earnhardt, I think Emp Lemon's Dale Earnhardt video has like 5 million views. Yeah. Like that, he's killed it. He got the last word. Let's focus on the here and now.
Yeah, Emp did amazing on that. And I kind of want to parlay this into talking about the next couple of weeks too. But next week, definitely tune into Danny's channel. We're going to go from furthest guest out when we announce these guests to the closest one, because I think that's better for dramatic effect. Mm-hmm. We'll be on Danny's channel next Wednesday, April 9th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Going to be a lot of fun for something we'll tell you in a moment. But guys, our fans love when we bring people on as a guest. So let's tell them about the next couple weeks. For the next 5, we already have confirmed guests for those podcasts. So May 7th. And by the way, for the rest of the show, or a lot of the show, we'll just put the upcoming shows in the bottom so you guys can see the next rest of the season. So there's that. All right.
Who's coming on May 7th?
May 7th.
Get your calendars out.
On Eric's channel, we'll have Auto Racing Analytics come back on heading into Kansas. It's home track for him.
Nice.
He loves talking to us. I was just DMing him about it back and forth. He'll come on before both Kansas races this year. He's already set it up way in advance. So Auto Racing Analytics will be back. We love Grant. Fits in the show like a glove. Then 2 weeks before that, on my channel, April 23rd, heading into Talladega week, we'll have our buddy John Ramos, IDK player, on the show.
Yeah,
He'll be on. He's going to be on. Coincidentally, we do have a Talladega event that Friday too. So going to be a lot of fun to hang out and all that. The week before that, which will be on Eric's channel again, April 16th, Ellie Productions will come back on the show. Going to be a lot of fun to have him. He can tell us all about his car at Bristol that week. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, John better wear a suit and be professional. But yes,
of course,
Connor's going to be coming back on. He's really excited to come back on, and we have plenty of stuff to talk to him about. And next week, April 9th, Danny, you can kind of tell us this because it's going to be on your channel. Who's going to be coming on the show with us next week?
We are going to be having on a young man who was actually in our chat last week. He's a loyal viewer, engaging with you guys. We're going to have Carson Hocevar will be on with us next week. He was fortunate enough to be in our chat last week. We had a little quick conversation with him, and he said he'd love to be on. So we're going to have Carson come join us. I don't know how long he's going to be with us. If he'll be on for a few minutes, the whole show, we'll just see what happens. But Carson, we're looking forward to having him on with us.
Should
live streaming expert.
Should we request one of his favorite crazy hats from back in the day on the grid? Like, see which one he can wear on. That'd be funny as hell to see.
You should challenge him to like, what's the least crazy hat he has? And it's just like a spinny hat.
It's gonna be wild for Eric. He's gonna have a guy that was once in one of his stop motions that is gonna now racing on Sundays. It's gonna be on the show with us. So this is gonna all come full circle. He actually has his own little stop motion track. He bought it from someone.
I know. I need to apartment. Maybe I'll come out of retirement. I need to like talk to him about doing like some sort of a collab.
Yeah,
because that would be hilarious.
To go to Charlotte and collab with him on a stop motion.
What was I going to say? Have we never had Carson on the podcast? I swear we have.
I thought
I don't think we did. I thought maybe we did, but I don't think we did unless it was way back early in his truck days.
I mean, I have it all up here. I could look through it because it wouldn't be the first season. I wouldn't think. I'm looking through. I don't see him on those. Yeah, I don't.
It'll be fun.
If we did, it was like a one-off small thing, but I don't think we have.
All right. Well, this will be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a ton of fun the next couple of weeks. And that's the thing is, we said, the ones we know now, we still might have some others that we might have.
Let us know in the chat who you guys want to see, and we can always send a DM and hope for the best.
Carson will be the first driver to be on this season with us. So,
oh wow,
yeah, we can ask him like why it took so long to tell us he had a silent B at the start of his name.
Yeah, that was very confusing.
No, I've actually leased it out to him. He's borrowing it from me. I'm just Danny Talks now.
Well, Danny Talks. Do you want to talk a little bit about this little shakeup when it comes to the executives? We have a commissioner now in NASCAR. Maybe not to the same level as like stick and ball sports, but it's so damn ironic. After
imagine
last week,
commissioner of NASCAR just starts announcing, boom, 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 boom. Hendrick Motorsports has selected Russia 48.
Oh, sorry. Oh, the whole crowd booing the whole time because every commissioner gets booed, I swear.
Well, and to be fair, if you look on social media, this commissioner would get booed because the commissioner is Steve Phelps. We love, I won't say, we're critical of Steve Phelps, but we also appreciate some stuff with Steve Phelps. Can't say we're 100% one way or the other. Good person to talk to at the track.
I like Steve Phelps. I think he's good for the sport.
I'm happier if
I'll say it.
In charge of a lot of things than the former, person who was making these decisions for NASCAR.
I think Phelps is good at. I mean, his job is big picture stuff. His job, he's like and he's not literally this, he's like Ben Kennedy's father, you know what I mean? Like his job is big picture, expansion, media rights. And I think I think objectively, he's been really good at all of those things. Somehow NASCAR continues to get more and more and more TV rights money. When we look at sports like baseball having issues with ESPN, like the teams want more money. And Steve Phelps and his group continue to deliver more media money every single cycle. That and expansion. I mean, Chicago hit, trying to push international. I mean,
a lot of that was Ben Kennedy too.
Well, yeah, I'm saying they work together. I'm saying it's his team, but he's the head of it. And so that's why I'm saying, like, I actually think what his job specifically entails, I think he's overall been a positive. Everything he's done is not great, no. But overall, I think he's been a positive.
This goes back pretty far, Steve Phelps, honestly. He was actually the NASCAR executive who was on Undercover Boss back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
He, it was still very early into his time of NASCAR. I think he had just come from Pepsi or something like that?
He was at the
NFL.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Pepsi. My bad. But he comes from a business mindset, and him being willing to go behind the scenes and Undercover Boss shows you what kind of that he is willing to at least get in there and learn from the people inside, and also him coming on our show a couple of years ago, him being willing to come on and listen to a couple of goofballs like us and talk with us about the state of the sport back then. He is willing, to be a team player.
Well, so for me with Steve Phelps I do think Steve Phelps is more of a positive than people give him credit. I think the problem is that a lot of times Steve always takes that like extra step in the media and of just going that extra bit too far. Like the Gen 7 will fix everything comments, the Raja is going to be a star right away comment, like little things like that people will hyper fixate on. Or like promising something and then it keeps getting pushed off. Like for years, remember it was always, Steve Phelps says the new engine's going to come in the next year or two, and it just gets pushed off in the future.
We're working on a new OEM. Yeah,
that and to be fair, that did finally
sounds like that's finally happening. Yes,
I think it's more is that like it's just that he'll say the right thing and then take that extra step kind of thing, which I think he's honestly gotten better at in recent years. I don't mind him at like the way that a lot of people do. I'd even say like at the track, being able to talk to him, he is very in tune with stuff. I can say that firsthand. Like when there's been multiple times I've been at the track and like he now knows who from the interview we done with them and talking to him in the past, like he'll recognize me at the track when I come up and ask him something or talk to him about something. Like I remember the one time at Coda where he's like, I heard you were going to be here. And I'm like, you did? What the hell? I'm like, I am no one important in this sport. Like, and it's in the grand scheme of decision making and stuff. Like he's definitely intertwined. So I don't get the hate. I get like the little things.
It's the same way every commissioner of every league gets booed, and he's now the commissioner. So I listened to his interview. I didn't quite get to the end of it, but I listened to the vast majority of his interview on Holler Talk podcast this week, and there was some really interesting stuff. Like. Yeah, he's a corporate exec type who's going to word salad his way to try and, make whatever he's talking about sound maybe better than it is. Like he's going to do that. But he also got pretty honest a few times. Like he was hesitant at first, but then eventually he just said, yeah, Kevin Harvick chewed me out in 2022 over the concussion issues with the next gen car. Like, and talked about how after that moment, Phelps and the whole NASCAR team admitted that they'd made a mistake not being more communicative with drivers. And from like that point forward, especially after the Kurt Busch accident, he said that ever since then, they made it sure to every few weeks have driver meetings to keep update with safety. And they've continued to do that supposedly. So that was an example of, him being willing to take the heat for something and then also being willing to listen and change. And that's just something that compared to Brian France, who was effectively in this role before Steve Phelps, it's night and day, which is why I say generally I have a positive view of Steve Phelps. I understand not all fans agree with the broad direction NASCAR might be headed, but I think he's been more of a positive force than a negative. And it sounds like this commissioner title is very much just a title. His role isn't really going to change. The way he explained it is it's more just for simplicity's sake. Like when you're going into media meetings or going to sports conferences, if you say, hey, here's the NASCAR commissioner, everyone kind of gets, oh, that's the head. That's the Roger Goodell of NASCAR. That's the Rob Manfred of NASCAR. And it's easier for the normies, let's say, to understand. So you know, yeah, you mentioned earlier, Jarrett, the irony of them saying in their lawsuit that, you know, 2311 thinks this is a stick and ball sport. We're not a stick and ball sport. And then turn around and creating a commissioner role. That's pretty ironic, but it's certainly, it's not going to function in exactly the same way the NBA or MLB commissioner would operate. That seems to be how it's working.
And so this will leave a open window here for president of NASCAR, which is now going to be Steve O'Donnell.
I'm a little more mixed on Steve O'Donnell. I'll say that. I'm a little more
like
mixed.
What we see. I don't know.
Yes.
We like what we see, Eric. Like,
I'm mixed on Steve O'Donnell. I'll say that.
So the Steve O'Donnell on the president of NASCAR side of things is going to just deal more with the day-to-day side, tracks, stuff like that Phelps was also doing. To me, though, it's like I kind of like I want to read between the lines. Like, why would they restructure like this? Because that's really what it is in a lot of ways. Because there is stuff that now Phelps is working directly with Jim France and Lisa France Kennedy. Steve O'Donnell is basically taking that role underneath Phelps, kind of, because he's going to end up probably reporting a lot of stuff to Steve Phelps. Why are they almost like, is it just a streamline that they're announcing this stuff? Why are we seeing it? I think is the question that immediately popped into my head on this. And you add in the stuff with the lawsuit going on, and it's like, I honestly think their NASCAR will probably have to restructure some stuff after that's done, no matter which way it goes.
Yeah.
And maybe this is some of the early bracing for that impact, so they're not just hit, the broadside of a truck.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a fair theory. It's hard to say for sure. He made it sound like on the podcast that it was simply about, simplifying things and creating a title that everyone understands, et cetera, et cetera. But you're right. Like, why now? Why suddenly in March, April, a few weeks into the season, 2025? Like, why now? The timing is certainly interesting. And I'm with you, not to turn this into a lawsuit conversation, because we all don't really know where that's going to end up, but I would not be surprised, like you said, if NASCAR, even if they win the suit, for example, they might restructure some things, tweak some business things to try and prevent future lawsuits from coming their way in the future. Like, that all could very well happen. And maybe having a more traditional commissioner role somehow helps get ahead of that. It's so hard to say. I really don't know.
I just, contrary to what people think, NASCAR is not stupid. The people running NASCAR are not stupid people. They're not. I know people like to think they are because we disagree a lot of times as a fan base with the way that they decide things, but they're not. This would not be one of the premier sports in America, outside of the Big Four. And you could even argue, outside of playoffs, it usually gets better ratings than any other sport other than NFL, like in football in general. Like,
yeah, on it would not. Game, yeah.
It would not be this popular of a sport that's run for this long if the people running it were just a bunch of, knuckle draggers that didn't know their head from their ass. Like, they're smart people that I'm interested to see what other changes might come the rest of the year in different restructures. But,
Agreed.
we talked lawsuits. We're not going to talk about the 2311 lawsuit. We alluded to it earlier. Let's talk about the Legacy Motor Club versus Rick Ware Racing lawsuit that is going on.
Wasn't an April Fool's joke.
Honestly, like, I kind of thought when I saw it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of funny. And then I saw who reported it. I'm like, what?
It's like we have Adam Slurn. I was expecting to be like, oh, it's like a Jordan Banky or something like that.
Well, he tweeted it, and so I immediately just went to Google and Googled Legacy Motor Club lawsuit, and it came up with like one of those, U.S. court databases, and boom, there it was. And I'm like, oh, he's not lying, folks. This is a real thing.
Do we need to? I feel like as like YouTubers here and just people in media, we just need to constantly have on the search bar ready to go every team and lawsuit behind it and see what pops up every week, just to be sure. Because it's like, if I had a quarter for how many times this has happened, I've had 2 quarters of teams being in lawsuits, which isn't much, but it's weird. It's happened twice now in the last year.
I think I'll only be concerned if I see a Hendrick lawsuit come out, because then something's really wrong here.
And I get it if the quote is nickel, but like we're adjusting to inflation at this point. So let's talk a little bit about it. Sounds like it's a disagreement basically over when Legacy Motor Club would get the Rick Ware Racing charter for the 15, I believe, right?
I don't know if it ever
15 to the 51.
I don't think that's been said. I think it's unknown. And that creates ripple effects because RFK Racing is currently leasing the 15 charter for the 60. The old rule was you can't lease that same charter back-to-back years. So they were going to have to figure something out for next year anyways, if they want to keep Priest full-time and the 60 full-time. But if Legacy gets to buy one of those charters a year earlier than Rick Ware intended, then now Rick Ware might be in a bind where they're like, do we sell to RFK as well? Because then we have no charters for ourselves. And it's an awkward situation. But yes, in a nutshell, based on the actual lawsuit itself, the document that was filed that is largely redacted, but has some information in there based on that and what The Athletic has reported, it sounds like both sides met over the past few months, came to an agreement. Legacy says that Rick Ware signed everything, signed like a purchase agreement, I believe, and now is trying to back out. Rick Ware is saying that, we're backing out because Legacy swapped the dates on us without telling us. We thought the deal was for 27. They said it's for 26. And so we're not going to do it. Legacy saying, no. All this information was in there and they signed it. That's the disagreement. It's he said, she said at this point. The actual purchase agreement they supposedly signed hasn't been made public. So it's hard to say for sure what Rick Ware Racing did or didn't agree to, allegedly. But yeah, it's just interesting because we can start here. Legacy Motor Club wants a third charter. Are they in a position to expand to a 3-car team right now? That's debatable. And if so,
funding's there for Corey Heim?
And Corey Heim's a 2311 development driver now. He used to be a 2311 Legacy like wild card, which is why he filled in for Eric Jones, I think, last spring. But now he's a 2311 guy. And obviously it's all Toyota. They can share. Christopher Bell spent a year with Levine. Eric Jones back in the day spent a year with Furniture Row. But it may be more complicated than that. Some people theorize Kaz Gralla because he is their sim driver, the Legacy Motor Club sim driver this year. Has some cup experience, but I don't know how much funding he has.
Kaz Gralla. I feel like his time, hate to say, his time's slowly getting away from him now.
He's still not that old though. I think he's like 25.
He's not
26.
old, but he's not getting the full-time opportunities to suddenly be like, oh, now you're getting this ride. That wouldn't make a lot of sense anymore.
I have a theory about this for the third charter side because Legacy Motor Club has been in the airwaves about getting a charter. Like we heard it last year and the year before that, and we asked the same question, like why would they do that? Chris Wright, maybe. Who knows?
Throw that up.
My theory has nothing to do with drivers. I think the driver is irrelevant in this. My theory is that what is rumored to be going on in 2027, and they would need about a year to get everything set up for. The rumor that's been going on for 2027 is that possible Dodge going up to Cup, and they would need teams.
Yeah.
Why would Dodge want just a 2-car team if they can get a third team, especially if there's a team that's willing to do it? Legacy Motor Club is a 3rd-tier Toyota team. They're not getting as much from what we've heard of the intel from JGR and 2311, who work basically in a symbiotic relationship. Legacy is a perfect candidate to move to another OEM in the long term. They're a team that wants to expand. Jimmy Johnson, yes, he's with Toyota now. He has no loyalty to Toyota. He's a Chevy driver before that, and I guarantee you, if Hendrick switched to Ford or Dodge in those years, he wouldn't be loyal to one of those anyway.
But they still carry that petty font, which holds more of a tie to Dodge and Chrysler in the end.
Yeah. There's that too.
That's it. It's a valid theory. I mean, it's a couple of years down the line, but
look at Michael Waltrip Racing. I mean, they set up the year before.
They bounced around. Yeah.
They set up in 2006 before jumping with Toyota, who was the long-term play in 2007. Wasn't the greatest because it just was not the greatest jump in, dive in, but it tended to work long-term to build that team up. I feel like that would be something that could work out. Like if a Dodge or a Honda jumped in, because that's the other one that's been the hot topic of everyone's talks with it. To me, that would make a little more sense long-term preparation wise in getting Legacy Motor Club set up. Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, Kaz Gralla, Chris Wright, doesn't matter what driver they have. At the end of the day, Dodge will have their pipeline set up, starting with the Truck Series based on reports next year. Yeah, they will have Xfinity probably in 27 with that.
The only thing then that's and I still think your theory is 100% valid, but it's interesting then that legacy would be, I don't know, there'd be confusion over the years. Legacy's like, no, 2026. That's when you said you give us this charter. And Rick Ware's like, no, I thought we said 27. Like you're saying 27 is the earliest Dodge or Honda or anyone would enter the sport. So I get that, you probably want to build out that third team early, get that foundation. Sure. But like, is it worth bringing a lawsuit over? You know what I mean? At this point,
Yeah.
That's the only part that I'm like, I'm not really sure. Well, they just, now's the time to strike. They want to get that charter when they think they can. I don't know.
The other part that I think of with that part is, did Legacy and the powers that be there already give money to Rick Ware Racing? And now, like, is it maybe Rick Ware Racing trying to pull a fast one? Or is it Rick Ware Racing saying, well, we had these talks, but it's not going that far? They came out, I don't have the quote on me, they came out kind of swinging at Legacy Motor Club that it was just, I think, was it Stern that pushed it? Because I can pull it up.
It was a state. Stern tweeted a few others. They basically said the lawsuit, misrepresents facts, blah blah blah, and is an attempt to like damage our brand and reputation. That's what Rick Ware said. I will say this. I don't have it pulled up either, but there was something about the way the Legacy Motor Club suit was worded that felt a little like unnecessary. They basically made a comment where like, Rick Ware Racing is kind of struggling to find speed, but Legacy Motor Club is a growing, expanding enterprise that's invested in the sport. And I was like, are you trying to convince the jury that you're more worthy of this charter? Because that's not how this works. Like that, you're not allowed to just like look at something somebody else owns and says, I'm more deserving of that. Court, give me their thing because I'm more worthy. That's not how it works. They own it. Rick Ware can do whatever they want with that charter as long as they operate under NASCAR's rules. So that part of the Legacy suit is about like an unnecessary shot at Rick Ware saying, "Oh, they're not that competitive," but we're like
saying they're Rick Ware. Give me that. Give me.
Yeah, I was like, you didn't have to. Let me see. You can talk. I'm gonna see if I can pull it up.
Yeah,
it was like weird.
I wanna give the benefit of the doubt to Rick Ware Racing because I'm gonna be honest, like none of the fans are. They're gonna side with Jimmy Johnson and Legacy, even if they're running towards the middle and the back of the pack a lot of the time. Like, it's fun to speculate, and I'm willing to speculate and give those theories out like I just did. But at the same time, it's like I want to at least give the benefit of the doubt to Rick Ware Racing that maybe there is a real case they have. After all, Rick Ware Racing is in so many other motorsports, and all of them, I think, for the most part, they perform better in than they do in NASCAR. I just kind of what the thing I think about with this of them either way sounding like they're offloading a charter is, you remember a couple years ago when they were one of the lower tier teams, and there's that rule in the provision that the lower three teams, after like 3 years straight of being a lower three team, NASCAR could take your charter away. And they didn't take that charter away because Rick Ware Racing said that they were building for the future and that they were building up. And I remember at the time, we we're like, the numbers prove it, and this proves it. And this year so far, to get 7 races, Jimmy Johnson in his Legacy Motor Club's 1 start this year is tied, I think, with Carson or with Cody Ware, not Carson Ware, Cody Ware in the freaking points.
Yeah, I found the line. At least this is one line that jumps at me. So in the document, this is what Legacy Motor Club's attorneys write. At the exact same time that Legacy has charted a path forward, Rick Ware Racing has flagged and flailed in the rear. Like that's such they like what? And this is listed under under the factual allegations part of the document. They're stating that as a factual allegation. Like that seems like such an unnecessary shot at the race team for no reason. So I'll give Rick Ware that point. Rick Ware's right about that. That was an unnecessary
Your Honor, to be fair, they are trash.
Your Honor, I'd like to present some evidence. They are last in points. What does that have to do with their chart? Nothing, but I just wanted to make sure it was on the record.
Dude, these court stuff, it's like it's almost made for TV at this point.
They need to put a camera in there, get the courtroom cam back.
Dude, can you imagine NASCAR on court TV? Like these kind of lawsuits, like some of the stuff going back and forth, like the one with 2311 and NASCAR and Front Row and all them. Like that one actually, like you hear it and it sounds like legitimate, actual lawsuit, drama that you would hear in other sports and other motorsports and stuff like that. This one seems like, my cousin Vinny. Like that's what it seems like to me.
It's just going to come down to what was the thing Rick Ware allegedly signed and how binding is it? That's probably what it's going to come down to. I have to run just for a second. Dog is making crazy noises. I'll be back in like 2 minutes.
There's a delay, and it's go ahead.
Sorry.
There's a delay, and Zippy here said the same damn thing I said. Same thing. He didn't have to leave.
He laughed. I thought you just put him out for a second.
No, I didn't do anything.
Oh my gosh, Eric.
Well, hopefully the PC does not disintegrate again. So while he is making sure Cosmo is doing okay, Danny, what do you think? Think Rick Ware Racing is flailing in this lawsuit as well?
I don't know. I'm kind of on Rick Ware's side here a little bit, but it's going to be very hard to beat Jimmy Johnson lawyers, I feel.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, especially like if my theory is wrong and Toyota is backing it and they want to expand and all that stuff. Like I could totally see them being just like, just bowling over them, just completely bulldozing over them. See, I'm wondering, like, because again, I can't see. Oh wait, so he is down there. Okay, he is down there. All right, so we'll get him back on the stage in a moment. We've gotten through the headlines. We've gotten through. I realize I did not put that up there. Hold on one second. Way too late for me to be doing this. But yes, those were the headlines. There we go. That'd be the outro of the segment. Headlines. I completely forgot. It's been a great night so far. Now we can get into the fun segments, I like to call it. So while Eric is away dealing with dog troubles,
he's having fun, dog.
He's having fun. Let's go to the predictions this week. And of course, here are the prediction rules. Each host will make 2 NASCAR, motorsports, or show-related predictions. Predictions are kept track each week in our accountability sessions. We will keep predictions relatively concise within a few years, but there's always fun wiggle room we can have with it. Let's go to the accountability side of things. My end. This is going to look like really bad, but it's only 2 of them, and one of them I forgot about. A couple weeks ago, I did not catch that I got this one wrong. NASCAR and ISC would announce a Homestead renovation project by the green flag of the 2025 Homestead race. That was actually something that they sounded like they were about to announce something like that with the finale, and it ended up not happening. Then the winner of the Martinsville Cup race, I said would finish on the wet tires. It didn't even rain, so that's on me. Eric, you're back, and you said there would be fewer than 20 throwbacks in the Cup field. It's, from the sound of it, split half and half, so you were good by 1. And Danny, nothing came off the board. Nice. So as for this year, I'm still leading now at 41.18%, Eric at 31.82, and Danny at 23.81. All time, I'm at 42.2. Eric at 31.78 and Danny at 29.77.
We're all right around our averages.
We're kind of going back to the mean on a lot of it. Two wrong predictions on my part probably will do that. Now let's get. Oh, I thought I heard myself for a second. Let's get to the predictions. I'll go and start off first, and I'm going to make a positive prediction, honestly. Martinsville's 2.422 million viewers will be the smallest audience that FS1 gets for a points race that is not delayed in any way. Scheduled points race.
Wow.
I think Bristol will be higher. I think Darlington will be higher. I think Texas will definitely be higher, as much as people say they hate it. And I think Kansas will be higher. So there's 4 races to go in that end. And a moment of positivity for people. We're actually over halfway through the Fox portion of the year. So,
yeah, I was over here like Sonoma might get nothing, but then I forgot that's not an FS1 race this year. So, both my predictions are throwback related. Since I was 1 for 1 last week, I feel like I need to ride this hot streak. Hopefully, my first prediction is that a throwback scheme car will win both races this weekend.
Damn it.
Oh, is that one of yours?
That was one of mine.
Oh, is everybody have this?
Do that because it's not a huge guarantee because we have so few.
Yeah, because it's 50-50 in Cup, and I think it's probably like 60-40 in Xfinity. I'm so sorry, guys.
Nah, Great minds think alike.
Well, I'll have to think of my second one, but I'm gonna go with a positive for tonight. Jarrett and I will hopefully not go under a tornado warning tonight.
Is it during the show or just till midnight?
Just tonight in general.
Okay. Yeah. Knock on wood, man.
Fingers crossed. I hope
After Jarrett's experience the last time, and how many are popping up, I am praying I'm right.
Hey, Danny B, good vibes. Danny B having good vibes on this one. I like it. All right. I'm gonna make a prediction. I know we're probably gonna see a die down on this after what happened in the Xfinity race at Martinsville. But I do think there will be a race in one of the top 3 series this year that has over 3 overtimes. So 4 or more. I think we're gonna have another one.
Okay. All right. This is a silly one and it's a little vague. So if it happens, we can debate on the show next week if I get points for this or not. My second prediction is that at least one driver will wear a costume this weekend and it will be on TV. So that could be like a goofy wig. That could be a different, like an unusual fire suit. But that's what I'm saying. It's somewhat
not a
subjective.
Throwback fire suit though. Like Joey Logano has a throwback fire, or not?
No,
yeah,
not like a
throwback fire suit.
If he puts some other fire suit on that's like not approved to race, that would count. But yeah, no, not like his normal fire suit, or not like a race ready fire suit.
I like what Mark says in the chat here. Tornado warnings or barbecue weather here. No, Risk got so upset at me the other night, and she's probably gonna hate that I brought this up. But like, there was this big lightning storm coming in, and there's tornadoes like popping up left and right, and like I see the wall coming in from the lightning strikes lighting up the sky, and I go, Risk, hold on a second, I gotta go see that outside. And I go outside, and she's like, wait a minute. You have something metal in your hands. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, but I gotta go outside and see this. It's a Midwest tradition. There she is. Yeah, she says I almost there she is. I won't put her second one up because there are children watching.
Damn this.
This my second one, now that I've had to come up with a second one, will be related to next week's show. If he stays on the whole episode, Carson Hocevar will correctly win Random Driver of the Week.
Ooh.
He's betting. Danny's betting against himself.
Ooh.
Pete Rose got banned for this.
No, I thought Pete Rose bet on himself to win.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, actually, you might be right. This is even worse.
I'll be honest. I think that's like the one thing in sports gambling with players and leagues and drivers. Like, if you're betting on yourself to win, like, I influenced the race by winning. Like I'm either going to come out good on predictions next week or good on picks if I can somehow beat both of them.
Well,
those were some pretty fun predictions this coming week that we'll be seeing come true. Hopefully some of them. Hopefully tonight we see at least one of them come true. But now, guys, it is time for you to say goodbye and good night to the chat for a little bit, because it is time for Random Driver of the Week. Close your chats. I get to see the chat. And last week I was told I was blind because I said that majority of the chat hadn't gotten it yet. And I looked back on the section I said it with, and I was right.
Ooh,
so
dang,
I was right. But yeah.
Why do you have that, Eric?
For when I get my fourth one correct in a row. I don't know if
he's talking trash already.
I don't know if the mic could pick that up.
It did.
I need to step up before Carson beats us next week.
All right. Well, the last 3 have been won by Eric, those being Tim Flock, John Hunter Nemechek, and Bobby Allison, I believe it was that we did.
I don't remember, but I'll take your word for it.
Danny, the last 2, he had 3 in a row, but the last 2 of these past 5 were Casey Mears and Tim Fedua. So Eric has a 19-18 lead after falling 2 behind. It has been a back and forth for the last year and a half on this between these 2. So let's go. This random driver spent his early years working in a tobacco field.
I can imagine a lot of guys did that.
Yeah.
Okay.
This random driver also is a Tennessee native.
Yeah, a lot of tobacco farms out here.
Home field advantage. This isn't fair. I'm filing a protest.
This random driver's first Cup race did actually come at the Nashville Fairgrounds as well. So,
I'm
Tennessee
chucked.
boy.
I'm screwed, chat. It's over.
This random Cup race at Nashville Fairgrounds.
Yes.
All right, so that kind of dates him a little bit.
This random driver got a famous nickname due to not being able to pronounce his own name as a toddler.
Oh, I feel like I've heard this story actually. Am I crazy? Okay, this is definitely a name. This is a recognizable name.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't no like, yeah, never go on.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't start saying names because
I was thinking of one of the names we've done in the past. Who is that guy?
What do you think it might be, Eric? Go ahead.
Who is the guy that raced at Nashville Fairgrounds that like I couldn't?
Chad Chaffin.
Chad Chaffin. Yeah, this ain't no Chad Chaffin this week.
No.
This random driver was famous with many kids that were fans of racing because at the fairgrounds he would run a fire engine red Chevy Impala.
Oh man!
And by the way, the chat has gotten it this week.
Yeah, I know. This feels like I should know this.
Yeah.
And my dad just sends me this picture of a guy sitting looking at his stormy garage saying dad's during tornado warnings in the Midwest. And it's a dude outside with a beer watching it. Oh, that's funny. This random driver's highest finish in Cup Series points was 20th. This random driver's best Cup race finish was 4th. Multiple times. This random driver is a 4-time track champion at the Nashville Fairgrounds. By the way, we have 21 clues this week.
Ugh,
this random driver did win a Daytona duel.
Okay.
This random driver nearly won the 1974 Daytona 500 as well.
Don't know much about that one.
Let's see if I got that one DVR'd still. I can go back and rewatch.
Oh, man.
They didn't have DVR
that
in 1974.
Before DVR.
Yeah, what am I talking about?
I know. I could text my dad. He was there in 74.
Did they even have VHS back then? I don't know.
Dad, text me. Did they have DVRs and VHS and all of that in 1974?
When was Laserdisc a thing? That's what I need.
Probably was lucky you could even watch TV.
Yeah. How many channels did they have? Was it like 4 at the time? In the 1974 Daytona 500, this random driver was black flagged by NASCAR for a loose wheel, and it ended up that the loose wheel was not, in fact, loose, costing him the win.
Mm.
Wow. I got no clue.
This random driver has never been tweeted about by any of us.
Oh, maybe this isn't a big name, right?
This random driver ran nearly every Cup start of his career for the same team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He was a loyal fella.
Yeah.
This team was Cunningham Kelly Racing.
I don't know much about that team, honestly.
This random driver also earned about $300,000 in his Cup career.
Dang, that's mint. Could buy himself a whole carton of eggs.
This random driver raced these numbers. Get your pens and paper ready. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. 04, 07, 14, 97.
All right. Okay. I was going to say he drove for the same Cup team. He can't have changed that many numbers.
Yep, that's it. And that's for multiple series too.
Wait. I have no clue, man. I got no idea. What are some famous Tennessee drivers? Sometimes that's what helps me, but I got nothing. I'm none that fit this description that I can think of.
This random driver raced in Chevrolets and Fords in his career. We have 4 clues left. This random driver's son raced in one of the same numbers.
97. What'd you say? Was it 40?
04, 07, 14, and 97.
14, 40, not 44, 40, 14.
97, 07, 04. This random driver's son actually replaced him in his final cup attempt.
It's
Chase Elliott.
Who's left?
I
Or I
think
guess-
it might be on that same.
Actually, one was a repeat. Sorry.
It'd be Bill Elliott.
There's one clue left.
Oh boy.
Because one was a repeat on accident, and my pen just died.
I don't think I'm gonna be needing this one this week.
Well, this random driver's son is in the NASCAR 75 greatest drivers list. We killed a pen to get to this point, y'all.
What's his name? I know who his son is, but I'm struggling to remember his name.
The chat you said got it all. I feel like
Oh yeah, they got it in like the third, fourth
it
one.
sounded really familiar the first 5 or 6 clues, and then like now I'm like so far off in the dust.
You said something about a nickname. I don't remember what you said there.
I said this random driver got a famous nickname due to not being able to pronounce his name as a toddler.
You know, I think I know. It's not his son Sterling. It's Cuckoo Marlin. That it?
Correct.
Well played, Danny.
Cuckoo Marlin. So Danny ties it up
yeah.
at 19.
I would not have gotten that one. I don't think.
Not one of those names that you talk about a whole lot, but
Yeah,
I think I've done at least a little bit of research on the Marlin family.
It's closer to a Chad Chaffin than a Dale Earnhardt. I'll say that.
See, I remember. Actually, hold on. Do I have it here still? Or crap! I think I packed it. I had those NASCAR history and pictures books, and at the end of each year, they have the point standings. And I always remember seeing Cuckoo Marlin and being like, that's just a NASCAR name.
That is a random driver of the week if I ever seen one.
That's what I was thought when I was 7 years old and I got that for the first time. I'm like, you know what? In 20 years, I'm gonna have that guy as random driver of the week.
You just knew it.
Him driving only 4 numbers, of 14 being one of them. Is that part of the reason I guess Sterling drove the 14?
Oh yeah, 14.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
So there you go. That was
well done, Danny. Tied it up.
That was a good one, Jerry. I almost didn't get that one.
That's what I'm saying, man. It was like I was genuinely thinking, I'm like, this might be the week I get
kept
these
thinking
guys.
Sterling the whole time. I'm like, I know it's not Sterling though, because he did better than this.
Well, it's kind of a throwback, you'd say. And before we go into our Darlington predictions and all of that, how about we go into the throwback weekend? Guys, I'm going to pop some of these up on the screen, and there's some of them you guys can bring up. And if I have them, I'll pop them on screen. But I'm going to get my heavy hitter out of the way first. All 3 of us talked about this. Let's talk about our favorite throwbacks before we go in. This one was mine. I know it's chalk. I love Kyle Larson's throwback this year. I'm nostalgic for it. It hits me in my member berries. I remember racing against this car in NASCAR Thunder 04, seeing it on TV as a kid. Pretty accurate. You could say even it's great.
Well done. Yeah,
this one's been requested for a long time. I love that they did I love that they changed the font on the side to match up with Kellogg's. They even did the got cars like got milk. The only thing, the original fan concept of this had a cartoon version of Rick Hendrick looking like Tony the Tiger saying like got cars or something like that. That would be the only way to make this better. But I do get from the brand perspective, you want HendrickCars.com saying, and on a blue hood, it does match well. But that would be the only change I would have made.
Yeah, I forget. I wish we could shout out who made that, but that was a really fun idea. This is probably my favorite too. I got a shout out though. Not one of the best executed, but it's always great when there's a Matt Kenseth throwback in the field. Brandon Jones throwing it back to probably my most favorite year as a Kenseth fan. 2013 was a forgettable year for a lot of people, but not for me. Kenseth had 7 wins his first year with JGR.
That's right.
I would love this throwback if they had stuck with the orange bumper that used to have Home Depot, like the obviously the car in the middle on this graphic for people watching is the actual car, and it has the orange Home Depot bumper cover. They don't have that here for the Menards 20, which is a bummer. But otherwise, it's cool to see this back.
What they could have done, a Menards partner that we've seen on the hood, maybe not recently, but we've seen on the hoods of these Menards schemes before, is Tide. We could have put Tide back there and done the orange bumper that way.
Another Matt Kenseth sponsor.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been a perfect throwback then. So I give this one like a 7 out of 10. And one of those points is because I like Matt Kenseth.
What about you, Danny? What one sticks out for you?
Man, Leyland Honeyman's got a good one. Very underrated on that one. I really like that one. The Nesquik car. It
milk
really
machine.
good.
Yeah, that does look really good.
Making a splash.
I don't know if this one's underrated. Because we've seen some good Cale Yarborough throwbacks in the past, but I really like Joey Logano's. I think that just looks the colors look so good. He's got the fire suit to match. I know it's the 22, not the 11, and I think the Pennzoil logo is kind of random there on the side, but that just looks like a good vintage wrap right there. I like that one.
But the thing is like, see, I feel like I'm more lenient on this than I was in the past, and a lot of people, especially like the designer side of Twitter, where X was getting really upset about this, and it's like, I'm not going to ding sponsors or numbers or anything, because that's so hard to get for a lot of really good ones. We're 10 years into it, but like that shade of yellow to me, like I think of that shade when I think of 70s material.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the show Mindhunter?
I'm not, but
really good show. And like, I see this color all over in that show, and it's set, a lot of it's set in the 70s, and you see Netflix documentaries. Like, when I think of the 70s, I think of like really poor camera quality and that color.
That's what I think I like about it. So it's just the color looks really good.
No, go for it.
I was going to throw one more out there for me, at least, was Denny Hamlin's Carl Edwards throwback is kind of fun. I mean, the first race I went to was Edwards in the Office Depot colors. He won at Texas in 05. I know this is a slightly different scheme than what he ran in 05, but it's close enough that it brings back some good memories. And it honestly, doesn't it kind of look like it could pass for a modern day Sport Clips car? It just shows how timeless that mid 2000s design really was.
Well, Danny, you're the only one I'm not sure of this. Have we all been at a Carl Edwards win when he was in the 99? Because I know you went to Bristol a lot.
Let's see.
Because he won it in 08, and did he win it in 07 as well?
Didn't he win it in 14? When was he in the Kellogg's car?
I actually don't think I happened to be at any of his wins, honestly.
Because I saw him win in this scheme at Michigan in 2007. He broke the winless streak, and he cut that dude's beard in the infield.
And he won spring Bristol 2016 too, I think. But I was not.
14,
I was not at
2. Yeah. No, in the 99, I mean.
Oh, in the 99. Sorry, I thought we were talking about.
Yeah.
No, I didn't see any. I don't think I saw him win at all in the 99.
Well, I'm going to stick with the Roush theme on this one. This was one of my ones that I think a lot of people are underrating compared to a lot of the popular ones, but I love this Jamie McMurray. We were blessed with Jamie McMurray throwbacks this year.
Yeah, this was his 09 Talladega win scheme, I think.
Hot take. This looks better on the Xfinity card than the COT. I honestly think it fits better.
It does look pretty good. Yeah, the COT, it was too boxy. That Supra front end is like angled enough.
This would have fit better in the 2011, 2012 COT to me. Like maybe. just because the way that the indentation in the front, like I don't care what people's member berries are on this. The COT was an ugly car. Like it raced a lot better than people will give it credit for, I think. But it was the initial design was pretty ugly. I know people are nostalgic for it, and I won't go too hard on it. But like, I absolutely love that one. And then, if you will, let me.
I'm more nostalgic for the engine sound. Looking back at videos,
yes. Oh, that scream. Allow me to stay here in the Xfinity series for a moment. I'm going to go even further back to 2000.
Anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to go back to 2009 further back than 2009 on this one. Oh man.
Yeah, this is a great one. They really could. Ryan Pistana and Alpha Prime kill it with their throwbacks the last couple of years.
Well, and just I like that visual pack. Like it just fits with Kodak.
It does. It almost feels like a spinoff. You're like, oh, is this what they rebranded to?
Yeah. Like I gotta ask, and chat probably knows better than me. Is Kodak still around?
I'm gonna Google, is Kodak,
because like
they probably make digital cameras or something, maybe.
Well, you remember those cameras where you'd like take the
Emerging
picture, the
from
Polaroids?
bankruptcy. Sorry.
What was it? Was it the Polaroids? You take the picture, it'd come out and you'd shake it. Because my great grandma had one of those, and I'd always take pictures. I have pictures all over from those. And I guess like that's like a hot collector item now. And I just used to have fun with it as a kid with my great grandma. Danny, there's some other ones we still have left to show on, on our second line.
Yeah,
here.
I don't even know if you have all the ones that I've got pulled up on my screen right now, but I will say Cody Ware has a good one going back to the Bill Davis Caterpillar ride. I don't know if you have that one on your thing or not.
I don't have that one. I know you sent me another one that's on the Ganassi tree, though.
Yes. Yes, this one right here, Anthony Alfredo.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Rocking the silver bullet. There is something that just feels right. This is not the 42 and 40 were not the same font, but this just feels so right. It's still the Ganassi 42. This is not the 40 car, but they are Ganassiing this thing up as good as they can.
And then, I love throwbacks to Earnhardt and the 3 and all of that, but I appreciate using the 2 and having the
this
font.
One looks very nice.
Yeah, and like I get the 3 is the one that's famous and rightfully so, but it's like throwback
What started it.
Yeah, and throwback weekend to me is just it's in part supposed to be celebrating the past, but it's also to teach people about the past. And we don't really know, you don't really hear much about Earnhardt pre-RCR. And I like that because Mike Joy is going to have a story about this car.
Yeah,
like Mike Joy is perfect for this weekend in so many ways.
This car here feels like what old school NASCAR would have been like, that a team would just have a paint scheme that they liked, they thought looked good. And if they did get a sponsor, they just slapped the logo up on top of whatever they had. And that's basically what Freightliner is doing on this scheme. Like it just feels like an old school scheme that this is their paint scheme. This is what they rock off each week. If you want to be on that, you're on it. We ain't adapting to your brand though.
Well, there's one other I have left on the presentation slide here that I want to pop up. And I know that we have a fan of this family in the chat. But that Night Owl scheme that Kyle Sieg is running is picture perfect outside of the sponsor.
That is probably one of my favorite paint schemes of all time. I don't have the diecast anymore, but I did have this diecast for a little bit.
That's such a good one. The black and yellow looks so good. And the Night Owl, I don't know what Night Owl does, but shout out to Night Owl adapting their logo, their font to kind of sort of match the Havoline. It's just at first glance, I take my glasses off and that's their classic Ricky Rudd look right there. Like you can't, like, I'm fooled. I'm tricked.
Night Owl is security cameras.
That's a good name then for what they do.
I know we don't have them all up here, but I've got a whole bunch of them because I'm going to go through and hopefully film a video of Claudia this week, like where we kind of grade the throwbacks. We kind of do that each year. But a couple of other ones that really stand out to me, you got Ryan Blaney's throwback to his dad. You've got two Jimmy Spencer throwbacks. I think Mason Massey is also doing Neil Winston Noble scheme that Jimmy had ran. And then you got Cole Custer in the Target throwback, the Ganassi throwback to that one. And then also, this is a very underrated one. We may not give him credit for what he does on the track, but Ty Dillon's throwing back to Patty Moyes, and they have actually got you get extra points for me by getting a sponsor that is that sponsor. That her car was Beaver Street Food, and they've got Beaver Street Fisheries. So I guess that might be the same company. Just they're more like in fisheries and not overall food these days. But they're the logo on Patty's car said BSF, and now also says BSF on the hood of Ty Dillon's car. Her car had the Buick in big bold letters, and this one has Chevy in big bold letters on the hood. So they've done a really great job of this one.
And I want to address these chats, like asking, what about this one? About this one? Like, there's like 40 throwbacks this weekend. if we went through all of them, this show would be a 4-hour show. And I don't think that all three of us want to stay up till 11:30 at night. There's plenty of great throwbacks, and this is not a slight to any of those. I guarantee you, of all the videos like that I've made so far, that Eric will make, that Danny's going to make, of our top 10, we probably left out half of it, at least our top 10 schemes.
Yeah. Oh, and another one, we talk good about talk good about Kyle Larson. Hey, give credit though to William Byron for Jeff Gordon, retirement paint scheme throwback, and Carson Quaffle. He's got the Jamie McMurray paint scheme. So
this might be a hot take. I'm kind of Jeff Gordon throwbacked out.
But what else? You can't put anything else on the 24 though. Like what else can you possibly put on there?
I know, but like Joey Logano's running a throwback
game or something like that, you're gonna have to like get Pepsi on board, I feel.
Yeah, I'm like, you can do other schemes. Like, I guess they're still better than like the lazy Chase Elliott one, or like the lackluster Alex Bowman one to Jimmy. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not terrible.
I saw someone made a Chase Elliott universe scheme that looked like Jeff Gordon's original Nicorette car, not the one of Flames that he later had, but the original one. And I was like, that somehow strangely works better than this car.
Yeah, and they probably can make some good ones and stuff. Like, and maybe it's because I'm a Dale Jr. fan. I don't have the connection to it that a lot of Gordon fans do. And it's pretty accurate. I'll give the Byron one. That's really accurate. But basically everything should be accurate with that one.
If they are gonna do another Jeff Gordon scheme, I would say that bright green flamed Nicorette car just with Exalta logos instead would look pretty cool.
Look better than the turd cars they put out with green Exalta, that's for sure. We can talk about these all night. It is throwback week. It's Darlington week. I got my retro Darlington shirt I got at Richmond of all places, in a vendor tent across the street next to a gas station. But let's get to the Darlington weekend. Some notes here. Austin Hill will be in the Cup Series 33 car. And then the Xfinity Series is heavily Cup partisan this week. Ross Chastain in the JRM 9, Chase Elliott in the 17 for Hendrick Motorsports, Christopher Bell in the 19 for JGR. And for the Cup race, honorary starter this week, Carl Edwards. I like it. I miss Carl. Going in order of the weekend, there is only 2 races, the Xfinity and Cup races. Xfinity is the Sports Clips Haircuts VFW Help a Hero 200, a week after the Boys and Girls Club of the Blue Ridge 200. We just keep these long-ass race names going. It's 147 laps, 45, 45, 57 is the stage lengths. 3:30 p.m. Eastern time is the start time on the CW. MRN and SiriusXM have the radio call. The purse is $1,651,939. Defending winner of this race, Justin Allgaier. Saturday, 88 degrees, sunny, 12% chance of rain. Bring your sunblock, people. It's probably going to be the first really hot race of the year, because it's probably going to get warmer than the forecast. The Goodyear 400 is the Cup race on Sunday, 293 laps, 90, 95, 108 is the stage lengths on that one. 3 p.m. Eastern time start on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. MRN and SiriusXM have the call and on the radio side of it. And the purse is $11,055,000 with an extra $250 added onto that too that I completely didn't read. Brad Keselowski won this race last year. He was the defending winner. It's going to be 88 degrees.
Don't get many chances to say that anymore.
We really don't. And it's going to be 88 degrees, mostly cloudy, 24% chance of rain on Sunday. Guys, we had a interesting way that it all went out with the pick points. Eric with the lead at 125. I am now second, minus 11. Chat minus 12 and third. And Danny B is in the basement, minus 14. Still really close.
I had near perfection at Homestead, and what did it bring me? Right back to the basement.
And the chat is the chat is, oh boy, oh no, uh-oh. Well, let's get into it. And it's right off the bat too. The funny part is we don't have to go to the truck pick right away. We go to the Xfinity pick this week. Danny, you're kicking it off. Who wins the NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Darlington?
He won his first ever race in this series here. I'm going to Chase Elliott.
And I guess now we sit and wait for the chat.
Chat, you get a second pick. Can't pick the 17.
All right, I'm seeing. I feel like I'm seeing maybe two,
I'm
three big
seeing
ones.
9 and 19 the most.
It's
Okay.
leaning 9 or I think it's 9 or 19.
I can leave a poll if you want.
I'm gonna do a quick poll.
I would
9,
poll because it's pretty split between those two.
9.
Some
Maybe just
7.
I'd put 7 in there if you really want to get wacky with it. But
That can kind of maybe be the tiebreaker on it all.
all right, chat.
All right.
It's crucial.
Poll is up. Let's see where it goes.
I'm gonna vote for the one person that's not in my top 4. Trying to sway the vote. Oh, it's pretty close.
Oh, geez, Rick, it's close. Oh my God, it actually might not be.
We were doubting the 7. He's pulling away.
You guys let me know when you think I should end this thing.
I always just think you should surprise them. If they don't vote right away, they don't care enough. That's the way I see it.
Now.
And the 7 is tied with the 19, so we're going to a runoff.
Tie.
We're going to go to a runoff. Poll 2.
We can get rid of the 9 now at least.
7 or 19. That is the choice.
That's funny. I was seeing more 9s to begin with.
Yeah, I'm surprised by this.
Alligator.
That came out of nowhere. That was extremely random.
Yeah, what direction the 9 vote's going to go this time?
Oh my gosh, it's still close.
There can be only one.
All right, we're going to end it in 3, 2, 1, 0, -1, -1 3/4, and done. You're going Justin Allgaier.
Justin Allgaier was not in my top 4.
I am genuinely surprised. So I'm going to go with their other pick there. I'm going to go Christopher Bell on this one. 19, I think, is going to get the win this week.
Oh, man, I'm in a tough spot here. I really like both these guys, but I don't like them as much as I liked Elliott or Bell. Oh, I'm going to do it. Chat, I'm going to do this. I'm taking Ross Chastain in the 9 car. Remember when he got in Harvick's grill here a few years back when he was still this fresh-faced watermelon farmer, no one quite understood? That was the start of the legend that is Ross the Boss Chastain.
More alligators. All right, Danny, lead us off. Who is going to suck in the Cup Series?
It's probably for the best that they're not doing a throwback this weekend. SVG.
Do a throwback to Dale Jr. in 2009. I mean, to be fair, his scheme he ran in 2009 and the Southern 500 was pretty badass. It was that like black and silver Mountain Dew car.
Yeah, I will say, if they wanted to do a WeatherTech throwback for him one day, the National Guard scheme would probably work, like the 08-09 version.
I think it would. By the way, the chat on my end and in here, in StreamYard works differently. So if you have the YouTube one, it looks like they're going 54.
Yeah, I think they're going 54.
That actually surprises me.
Yeah, they just had a good run finally. Come on,
Chad.
Wasn't he second here in the spring last year?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the guy that started out pretty well, has cooled down in my opinion as of late. I'm gonna go John Hunter Nemechek.
That's fine. I don't really know who to pick for suck. I'm gonna go with Austin Dillon. That's kind of bold because he's had some good runs here in the past.
Yeah,
Didn't he have a top 5 here? Yeah, there's a playoff race. I think he finished like 4th in the Southern 500. Maybe he was second.
Yeah, 2020, he almost beat Kevin Harvick right at the end after Elliott and Truex took each other out.
Is that the year he was second?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a long time ago. 550 package, not the same.
All right, Danny,
it'll be his time. He showed no reason for me to think he's going to suddenly get it together.
Well, who might get it together and be a dark horse this week, Danny?
Very nearly had this together last year until he got Reddicked. Chris Buescher, still watch out for him. Don't know if he'll win, but he's definitely one to keep an eye on.
Also, has Harvick fixed how he says his name? He always used to say it like Buescher, like Bueller.
Buescher.
That's what I like. It's more James Busher. I always thought it was pronounced like Busher.
All right. Who do we have here? Do you guys see this taken? I see a lot of 43s and 60s.
Yeah, I'll give him 43 on this one.
Yeah, give him Jones.
And they're with me. I'm also going Jones as the dark horse. If he's gonna have a decent run, it'd be here.
I was alerted to an insane stat today. Do you know who is currently riding a 3 straight spring race top 10 streak at Darlington?
Bubba Wallace?
Justin Haley.
Oh, wow.
Has finished top 10 here, 3 straight spring races. Let's make it 4. I'll go Justin Haley.
And that would be with 2 teams and now 3 teams in 4 years.
Colleague, Rick Ware, and this would be Spire, I guess, right?
Damn. How about that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get to it. Who is going to win the Cup race, the Goodyear 400, the Darlington Throwback race? Danny, who is winning this week?
Terry Labonte, a.k.a. Kyle Larson.
Yeah, dude, I would reach through the screen and hit you if you didn't pick Kyle Larson as the first one after how many laps he leads. All right, chat. Who do we got? Well, we can't have 5s.
Say an 11.
Ooh, they might be going 11.
They're pretty heavy on the 11s right now.
All right. Okay. I see some 45s.
I don't even think it's that close between them. I think it's
the
more
45s are trickling in. You might want to do a quick poll. 11
I think
45.
it's going to go 11, but I'll do it just to be safe because in the past when I haven't made or when I've tried to make the executive decision, I tend to be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be 11.
We'll see. The 45's got momentum.
To be perfectly fair, I did kind of consider the 45, but ultimately chose Larson.
Oh my God, the 45's winning.
It's close. Give him a few more seconds. Get your votes in. No.
It's like the old American Idol. And the winner is
Wow. We thought it was overwhelmingly 11 at first.
All right. So now I have my 2 picks left. Or no, I have 1 pick left. Do I stick to my guns and what I thought would be a good pick and be bold here? I think I'm gonna go Bubba Wallace. This is one of his best tracks. He's really good, especially in the spring. And that team is better than usual. I think Bubba Wallace can win this race.
I really wanted Bubba to still be on the board for me. I'm gonna pick William Byron. I think Byron has a better chance of running better than Bubba this weekend. So I don't hate this pick, but with all due respect to William Byron fans out there, it's not as much fun to root for another William Byron win as it would be to root for a Bubba Wallace win at Darlington. It's been 2.5 years. I kind of wanted to cheer for Bubba Wallace this weekend, but we'll go William Byron. I think Willie beats.
Bubba Wallace has run top 5 more often than not at Darlington in the Gen 7 era. And
he won the pole in the Southern 500 last year.
He's been sneaky fast. And here come the sirens. And it would not be a stream on my channel without the sirens coming through.
I'll say this about Byron. He has the best average finish here of anyone in the next gen car.
There you go.
So that's why I'm comfortable with my William Byron pick, even though Martinsville was an off day. But man, a Bubba win would be fun. It feels like they're knocking on that door.
Just saying, man. I'm just saying. It'd be the first race that he would win in Cup that I wouldn't be at, which is a wild fact still to this day.
That is pretty wacky.
Both of his wins. All right. As the sirens come through, I believe that is ringing it on into the last super chat stage.
Hopefully the guy in the podcast party bus shirt is okay.
I hope he is too. That man, he's a real one. He's a real one. All right. Where did we leave off here? I believe we went past Sammy Smith and Sam Mayer getting locale of the week from Sheev. So that leaves us to Wizard King Nick, who says, my idea to stop incidents like Mayer and Dylan is to DNQ that driver, and they get no points for that race. Feel like that would make most think before doing. Maybe.
I feel like 50 points also makes them think twice, but
yeah, you might as well have DNQ'd him at that point.
Let's see. Robbie here for the Vibe says, just want to say I love the coverage the three of you have brought us this year. Y'all should have Break Hard on more. He was a great guest. Yeah, if he's open to it, we are more than down to have him on again.
Yeah, he'll definitely be back at some point.
I was thinking, and I kind of want to gauge what people in the chat think about this. I kind of know where they're gonna be at, but then we can talk about it later. Most like should we bring back like our all-star finale where we would bring on a bunch of guests at the end of the year? Like I feel like that'd be really fun. Having like Break Hard talk to like Grant from Auto Racing and on analytics, and like having like Ellie Productions talking to some on the same stream as like John.
It's going to be hard to beat when we paired up Slap Shoes and Mark Martin in the same virtual room. That's going to be tough to beat. But yeah, we could do something fun like that.
We'll give it a shot.
I still love the idea of us just firing up a stream, the three of us, and then immediately texting anyone we know and trying to get them to jump in our call like off the cuff.
That's right. When we look through our phones, or we're like, oh my god, I didn't realize I had this many people on.
Well, it'd just be hilarious. I just DM like 10 people, and like, what if half of them show up randomly, not sure what to expect? I think that'd be so funny.
What if we do that when we're all in town next, and we do that on the podcast channel or something?
Maybe
and
we can experiment.
Yeah, that might be something fun to do. Justin here with the 50. Thank you, man. And I love that car.
That's right.
Says, I'm loving seeing the poster boy of spoon-fed kids not having an easy time this year. Honestly, the Xfinity series has become spoon-fed kids like Ty, and it became very clear this weekend that these kind of drivers have a majority of the Xfinity series.
Yeah, I mean, the majority of the best drivers. Not saying these kids don't have some good talent. I mean, there's some talented drivers. I think Taylor Gray is actually a solid driver who's going to get better. Like Zilich, obviously good, going to get better. But yeah, it's a lot of young guys with a lot of money, not a lot of experience. So you're going to have some bad races, I think.
Real quick, Duke Chronic, this was not me. Apparently, someone took TJ Majors out in iRacing called Iceberg. That was not me. I stopped racing on iRacing when I never started. Robbie here for the 5 says, you guys need to make Eric's freeze frame a sticker. I don't know if you saw it, Eric, but like
I did.
You had a great freeze frame when
I'm actually gonna retweet it. Someone had gave it to us on Twitter.
We need to put that in the chat, Jarrett. That's what we need to have.
And he also puts for 5 accountability segment guests from the chat as Eric's internet will go out at least 6 more times this year on NWP. I'm not going to make that prediction because that's something that Eric can work against me on and know. And like,
I'll just stop showing up.
Fair and square. All right.
Like, yeah, I wish it was just internet problems. Instead, it's like it sounds like it might be more
whole computer just saying, "I need sleep, sir."
I think it's gonna be a little more expensive than just internet.
Beast of Metal 1989 for 10 says, trusting NASCAR, a sanctioning body, I think that's what I meant, that has repeatedly shown it loves red tape as much as it hates auto racing to correctly enforce avoidable contact calls, is one of the most brain dead takes I have ever heard.
Ooh, strong opinions. I mean, is he talking about like when Hamlin and Harvick talked about like any and all contact? Because I think we agree that we don't want to see all avoidable contact penalized, just the really most egregious stuff. And we talked about earlier, NASCAR already has to enforce self-policing and make some very questionable gray area calls there. Like there's going to be a gray area call no matter what route you go. You just kind of have to pick your poison there.
I think this might be more aimed at us based on the second one he has. He says, Sammy Smith aside, nothing I saw was far enough out of the line to act like a series you people have been praising for years is suddenly devoid of worth.
Whoa, nobody said the Xfinity series is worthless. Whoa.
Well, and I'll push back on the sense that the Xfinity series this year had a huge turnover of drivers, especially a lot coming in from the truck series, and a lot of the better ones moving on up to Cup. And we knew that we were going to have a lot of these issues, maybe not this egregious, but we knew we were going to have a lot of these issues. And a lot of these people, that have moved on since and I get it. Sammy Smith was in the Xfinity series in previous years. So was Austin Hill, others like that. But let's not pretend that they were the only ones in the field doing stupid things. Like there was also a lot of guys that were in the truck series that have since moved on to Xfinity and Cup that do stupid things too. Let's see. T-Spats54 says, as a Midwest short track driver, drivers are sent to the back for being involved regardless. Races up here are clean, and it's a couple rule changes we have. Also, Jarrett Rockford was my home track. RIP. I know, RIP, man. And it sucks. It sucks that it's gone, but I think that could be something if it continues to be out of hand to this degree and NASCAR can't fix it with any other things that they do and drivers and anyone else can't fix it. But I don't want to change too much. By the way, Danny, I think I'm hearing some like feedback or something. Like I think you're typing or something I can hear. I'm just letting you know. I was just hearing on my end.
You're hearing me type. I'll mute for a second while I type. I'm just typing in my predictions, so those are ready for you later.
Oh, thank you. That way I don't have to chase after you guys.
I forgot to get them to you last week, and I apologize.
Nah, don't worry. I looked back and made sure. All good. Steven here says, it's time for us to put respect on Ty Dillon's name. We clown colleague for signing him, but he is having the best run I've seen him from him since he was in the 13 car. I mean, it's not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. It's thank you for holding us and the chat accountable. Ty Dillon has been exactly what colleague needs him to be in that car this year so far.
Beast of Metal 1989 with another 10. Very, very generous, but also very opinionated tonight. We love the opinionated side of man. Says, you want short track circuit desperate driving, kill the playoffs, make wins less transactional, burn the charters, let the kids feel like there will actually be cups. Let the kids feel like there will actually be cup seats for them in 3 years. And by the way, he had to blank those out because YouTube doesn't allow you to put those words in super chats. So, which I kind of think is BS because
not even the word burn.
I know, that's what I'm saying,
weird.
Man. It's just soft.
Let the kids feel like there will actually be a cup seat for them in 3 years. Well, all the cup,
well, I think
all
it's
these,
because
they all have money. Riely Herbst's got a cup seat.
Well, I think it's the idea is that there is a finite amount of seats now in Cup with 36 charters because that's pretty much the only ones that will ever be able to run every week. But I just think that the charters are so ingrained in the system now. So many teams would actually probably go under if they were taken away.
Yeah.
Just because there's no fallback. The playoff side of it, I can agree with, and I get that I stand on one side of the aisle with it. But I do think, especially in the lower series, it enforces that desperation so much, and they don't have the experience of a lot of the Cup guys, and even they do stupid moves up there. I mean, we've seen a lot of dumb moves Cup guys have pulled because of that stuff. I mean, we have the playoff committee coming up, and
the big thing is winning you're in. That's the thing that's like, it leads to a lot of this desperation. So if that got nixed, which I'd be okay with, or if NASCAR just says, hey, you can't plow through someone for the win, which is basically what they said this week, I think that fixes it too, but I guess time will tell.
Let's see what else we have here. Brian says, doing my party for the channel, gents.
He meant doing my part.
Oh, thank you,
Brian.
I appreciate it, man. Fred Dog 81 for the 5 says, thoughts on the 11 against the world banner. For once, Hamlin had the crowd behind him and he threw the goodwill away. Even Fox questioned the move.
I think it was Mike Joy. He was heard saying like, really? Or something like that.
Harvick didn't like it either. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little cheesy,
Harvick
but
actually like.
We talked about it a little bit earlier, Fred Dog, but I think Danny and I both agree it was a little cheesy, a little cringe. My take was that I like Hamlin leaning into that, antagonistic role. Like, yeah, some more fans seem to be cheering him than usual, but like, he said it after the race, talking smack that fuels him. And there are still, even if there weren't a ton in that crowd that day, there are a lot of Denny Hamlin naysayers out there. Jarrett, you called him, I think, an anti-hero. That's fair. Mm-hmm. 11 against the world. It's kind of fun. And, I think a fan gave him that flag. So it's a little cheesy. Timing wasn't perfect, but I kind of like him like being that character.
Indy Carson says, hey, NWP. Martinsville was a great race weekend since dominators of Larson, Allgaier, and Heim didn't win. Hey, you know what? Some people are just don't want some to win. I get it. I mean, I was like that for a long time, especially with Kyle Busch back in the day. He covered all 3 series for me back in the day. I just didn't want to see him win. So I get it. Hoosier Film says, take my money. Go see Bell. Yes, go see Bell because he is my pick for Xfinity this week. So yes, go see Bell. Isaac here saying Xfinity, it took the combined ingredients of idiocy, ineptitude, and total disengagement for this farce to reach the full apex of incredulous disaster. I like your grammar. I like
a lot of big words there, Isaac.
Vocabulary. Yeah.
Me no smart, no understand big word, Isaac.
Indy Carson with another one here. Hey, NWP, current short track package is making me want one race per track now. Every track on the current NASCAR schedule should have one race and do 36 tracks. It would be awesome.
I read ahead and saw 36 tracks. I guess those 5 F1 courses in Nashville are about to get some use.
In theory, I would love that. It's just there's so many big ones that they'll never take. They're never going to take, the summer Daytona race away, or just for tradition's sake. There will always be 2 races at Bristol, even if one of them's dirt. Ross Crash Stain says, hot take, borderline moves by veterans who should be the clean racers like Almirola at Phoenix set a bad example to the younger generation who sees that as clean, then takes it a step further.
I mean, I agree. I was critical of Almirola's move. I thought it was a little egregious.
It's kind of like the argument of, when you see like generations, like the youth of each generation kind of goes a little further in each, like look at how music was viewed like in the 50s, and like Elvis just shaking his hips was seen as scandalous.
Yeah.
And now I can see like every female rapper's ass on every video that they do. And it's just the norm. Like it's kind of like that cultural shift over time. And that's what you have with the driving standard.
That's fair. That's a good way to put it.
Let's see. West Virginia says Junior said he was acting like a spoiled punk on Dale Jr. Download, talking about Sammy Smith. Which good to him. As long as he didn't just be like, but everyone else sucks, so who cares? But I don't see him doing that.
Dale's usually pretty.
He's pretty good. With that.
Yeah, pretty fair on this stuff.
Yeah. Justin Drake for the 20. Thank you. Says this weekend's Xfinity race was as toxic as an iRacing Martinsville Carb Cup race, but with the drivers having the personality of the screaming 9-year-olds in GTA. I'm thinking something, get shit on, that one kid. Daniel here with the 20 says, last year's Martinsville race, NASCAR doesn't want manufacturers or teams not to manipulate the race. NASCAR should take their own advice. Don't throw the yellow when you want to throw the black flag when you need to.
I see. It sounds like they're just criticizing caution calls earlier in the year, which yes,
I think
some of them have been wrong.
I probably read it a little bit wrong too, so my bad on that one. Dylan for the 5 years says Ryan Preece and Chris Buescher will both win this year, but not Bad Brad.
Right now they're both in playoff spots, but Brad is sadly nowhere to be seen.
Ryanidis, I think is how you say it, for the Canadian 2, says they need to set up a boxing ring at Martinsville. Hell yeah, man.
Not in the infield care center, apparently. Somewhere else.
No, right next to the hot dog stand.
Yeah.
I'd be down. Dude, I could buy a hot dog and then watch a fight front row. Hell yeah, man. I'm down.
Best $2 you've ever spent?
Yeah. Hell yeah. My friggin' arteries would feel it for 20 years, but damn right. Daniel here with another 5 saying, cool about Prime Video to do the Kyle Larson documentary for his attempt at the double. Well, they recorded last year's too.
Yeah, I wonder if that footage will ever air because it was so disappointing.
I think they're gonna do both because it's like
they probably built up a lot to build into the hype of like, unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Stay tuned. They're gonna break it up into a 2-parter like they do with every major franchise.
Oh God! Thanks, Harry Potter. That's your legacy.
In game.
Justin Drake for the 2 says Terrible Herps is not just a sponsor. Damn.
Brutal.
West Virginia Legacy 44, driven by Kaz Gralla incoming. Pretty sure he's a developmental driver for them, or at least a reserve driver. Sorry for Heim, though.
I mean, I could definitely see if they get a third chartered 44 being the number that they use, and ultimately NASCAR would tell NY Racing, like, you barely show up, give them that number.
Like, buzz off, kid.
Damn.
Fred Dog for the 5 says Hemric, a champion driver and clean racer. You remember how he won that fluke title? I mean, congrats on the win, but let's not pretend it was clean. He was door slamming Cindric, but at the same time, like,
he didn't fence him.
No,
I think my thing is like door slamming is not dirty driving. Like, if we're gonna call that out and be all upset about it, let's be upset with the Craven Busch finish.
he didn't win it the same way Almirola beat Bowman at Phoenix. So
it was less egregious than Almirola's move. It was far less egregious than Sammy Smith's move. That I guess it's all relative. And like Jarrett talked about earlier, culturally our standards have continued to plummet year after year.
You fall into degeneracy.
Yeah,
you know. What's the phrase Slap Shoes always says is reject modernity, embrace tradition.
Something like that.
Something like that. Hunter Nixon Fishing, thank you for the 100 again. Thank you. Holy crap.
Looks like he's been fishing. Look at that profile picture.
I like it. Well, yeah, and he puts tuning into NWP on Wednesday night, and especially my Braves are currently 0-6. Okay, so
basically
Eric,
we're giving him something better to do.
Well, Eric's more in tune with baseball. What happened? I thought the Braves were really good last year. Like
they are. People are picking them to make it to the World Series or at least battle the Dodgers and the.
I went to
NLCS.
a Braves game last year. They beat the Phillies. I mean, it was a good showing.
No, the Braves are usually pretty good, but I guess I don't know who they've played and why they're 0-6. But that's really rough. So
hey, Spencer brings up Braves are winning 5-3 right now in the 7th. So
there's time to blow it.
I forget.
But there's so many games left.
I think it might have been Milwaukee. I saw a random tweet from them show up on my Twitter, said the game is now over. And then I was like looking for it, was like what people were saying, like, pretty sad. And I was like, one person said, like, we scored 9 points. That means we won, right? Looked at their score. They lost to the Yankees 20-9.
Did you just call runs points? Or did they?
I don't know. I'm not that big into baseball, so.
Oh no, Eric crashed out.
Oh, he did.
But I hope the Braves do better for you, man. I have nothing against them at all. Wizard King Nick for the 5. Fun fact: my dad knew Dale Sr. Unfortunately, I never got to meet him. All I have is a photo. My grandpa, who was a Senior fan, got a photo with them. That's really cool. That's a really cool fact to have. And then Eric crashed out. Yeah. Let's see what else we got.
Racy didn't have an angry crash out on us.
Let's see what else we got. West Virginia for the 5 says Steve gave us the choose drone, and I will love him from that. Remember that? Remember they had the choose drone at like the Bristol Dirt Race?
Oh yeah. I was like, choose drone. Was it misspelled? Oh yeah, choose drone.
Justin Drake, I feel bad because Eric just crashed out of the stream. But Eric, when you mentioned every commissioner getting booed, my mind immediately went to the NHL and Gary Bettman. That dude gets so much deserved hate from NHL fans. See, I'm not even a hockey fan, and I know he's screwed over hockey fans.
I just realized someone suggested earlier that one of us should have said something about Eric crashing out a few more times before so-and-so. You could have already had one building up to it.
I'm not going to put that bad juju on me. I don't want to put that on don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. West Virginia for the 2 says Rickware Racing merges with RFK. Give us RFWK.
Or RWRFK.
Roush Fenway Ware Kozlowski Racing. That's just word salad racing. Ross Crash Stain for the 5 says this lawsuit seems pointless because there's still a chance NASCAR gets rid of the charters because of the 2311 lawsuit. I'm assuming that's probably not going to end up happening, getting rid of them just in the moment. It's one of those I'll believe it when I see it things. Daniel with another 5. I care about the championship race. Bring back Homestead or use Las Vegas or Kansas. I would rather watch championship at Pocono. LOL Phoenix. Yeah. Pocono honestly has had some pretty good races as of late. I think it's overhated. I used to hate it as a kid, and then I started like really liking strategy races more. Let's see. Bobby Blair for the 5. But at least Eric's favorite team showed up tonight with the Texans logo.
Yes.
Says, "This is fun. We're having fun." Was my favorite quote from this show.
You need to get that as a soundboard.
Hold on, I'm gonna put that down now. This is fun soundboard. All right, there we go. I have it written down. Hoosier Films for the 2. Any Full Speed 2 release date? I believe it's like the end of April. That's the Netflix one, right?
I don't even know if they said it if it's coming out or not.
They said, I think they said it'd be the end of April, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what else we got. Isaac for the 5 says, did moving Throwback weekend away from the Southern 500 kill some of the team's desire to participate?
Cup Series, maybe, but
Xfinity's been knocking out of the park. And I would even argue probably not for the Cup. I think Cup Series wise, they're so desperate for money is that they can't really mess with what the teams want or the sponsors want. I mean,
yeah, because they're paying top dollar for that, placement. They may not like sharing a look that's iconic for another brand.
Blake for the 2 says, hope y'all are staying safe weather-wise. Danny, do we have a status report? Are we good on that end, or at least better than earlier?
Yeah, for now I think we are okay. We are under a tornado watch at the moment. There are still storms west of us. I know Arkansas and Missouri and parts of Illinois, Indiana were getting hit hard now. A lot of Western Kentucky is getting hit very hard at the moment. In terms of Tennessee stuff, just north of Jackson, there is a radar indicated rotation tornado warning, and just around the west of Clarksville, Tennessee, Kentucky border, there is it's a tornado warning that is set to expire here very soon. So as of now, no warnings that look like they're coming our way other than severe thunderstorms. But I will say, watch out in Western Kentucky. There is all kinds of tornado warnings popping up around that part, and Southern Indiana.
I'm selfish. I'm just worried about me right now. We're good. We're good. We keep trucking to the 3-hour mark. Hunter Nixon Fishing for the 10 says, NASCAR has done Throwback weekend since 2015. Since then, what is your guys' favorite Throwback period, or that a driver has done? Danny, what's yours? Because I can't think of one off the top of my head. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Well, this is it's tough to pick one of the more recent ones, but I'm going to violate these rules actually and say the best Throwback was probably the Darlington Throwback that really started everything. That's Dale Jr. 2008, throwing it back to Darrell Walter before we had an official Throwback weekend at Darlington when he ran that old school Mountain Dew car. But in terms of the recent ones, one of my favorite ones was Jimmy Johnson's last season when all of Hendrick Motorsports had a unique Jimmy Johnson paint scheme, and that was one year where I bought the whole set of those die casts of that happening because I thought they all looked really good.
Christopher Bell, when he threw back to Matt Kenseth's championship season, I was excited to see that. Even though it was the 20, not the 17, at least it was DeWalt. I liked it.
I'll go the Starcom Silver Bullet because I think that one was the closest anyone got. Let's see. Napa Racing Van for the 5. The big bully should have been penalized 50 points for bullying his way through the field, and Mayor the Slayer for spinning 3 drivers. RIP Fontana.
So fit a lot into that comment.
Yeah, I think they pretty much said like everything's on. It sounded like they'd said everything's like on hold with Fontana, like indefinitely.
Phelps said it would cost $300 million to build that short track.
That's not happening.
I think you might as well just move Amazon in right now.
Man, I even like the short track idea. I really do. Like we need more short tracks. The racing, if we can fix the short tracks, like needs to happen. That sucks. That really does suck. We had the writing on the wall for a while. I know a lot of people give us the "I told you so," but I believed. Steven for the 10 says, with Austin Hill getting a few cup starts this year, do you think this is to replace Busch or Dillon? I mean, Busch's contract ends this year, so
I think Busch is really trying hard to make it work there. I would be a little surprised if he left RCR at the end of the season, partially because who wants Kyle Busch at this point? He's a worse driver today than he was when he last hit the free agent market, and all he could get then was an RCR ride.
I don't remember what my timeline was I gave on it. I had a prediction at one point that Austin Dillon would step down from racing to focus more on the business side of RCR.
Let's see. I'm pretty sure
you definitely made that prediction, and I think that honestly would be. I think that's as likely as Kyle Busch leaving this year.
That one came off the board because you had said it would be he would retire after last year, and Hill would drive the 3 this year.
I should have gave that one more time.
Vogues for the 10 says, I don't have anything witty to say this week. We respect it either way.
Neither do we.
Yeah, honestly, we really, at this point of the show, we don't. We just hit 3 hours. Napa Racing Fan 927 for the 2 says the Xfinity race was a symphony of destruction. Dun, 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 dun. I love that song. Let's see. Luke for the 5 says, will any of you be at Berlin Raceway this year?
I don't
Probably
have any plans.
Unlikely.
Fred Dog 81 for the 10 says, since Jarrett has all that hot dog money, here's a little something for Eric and Danny to get a couple hot dogs for themselves. Have a great weekend. So there's a story behind that. This past weekend, I had made the agreement with my chat during the truck race that I would add up all the super chat money from the full weekend and tell them to the decimal point how many hot dogs I could buy with it.
What are you up to?
I didn't add this one, but I can do it for this one. I mean,
it's just divide by 2, really.
Yeah,
right?
I need to make sure, because there's decimals and all. I'd be able to get 238.4 hot dogs from tonight.
0.4.
Yes, I don't.
May I have a bite, sir?
If somebody wants if somebody wants my
Your
3/5
scraps.
of a hot dog, you can take it.
May I get 40% of a hot dog, please?
Last one at the moment from Paz Waffles says, for the 2, Eric, are you going to Darlington?
No, I will not be at Darlington, sadly. I haven't been in a couple of years now.
He's not going back to Darlington unless it's face on a car.
I actually hate Darlington. No, I'm just kidding. Darlington's like one of my favorite tracks. It's kind of hard to get to from Texas. I'd have to fly into Charlotte and drive 2.5 hours or whatever it is. And that's just doesn't sound kind of a pain in the ass. I'd rather I got Texas now down the road. I got Kansas up the road.
Yeah.
But
well,
I'll go back at some point.
That'll do it. That'll do, pig. That'll do. Checkered flag is out. So thank you guys for coming on out tonight. Next week, we will be on Danny's channel with Carson Hocevar coming on. Be sure to have questions ready, memes ready, especially with Hocevar. You got to have memes. And we'll be ready to go. I know Danny's ready to go. I'm ready to go. Eric's ready to go. We're ready all to go to bed. So y'all enjoy your night. Stay safe out there. Have a good one. See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Started off right now. Right on, come on.
Get outside. 3 wide.
Unbelievable.
Where you playing? We're going. I like the aggression. Dude, let me drop the green car. You can go tell all those guys up there they can suck it.
What we're about to do is not a good idea.
All good. What is he doing? You gotta be kidding me.
Half the pack is flying apart.
It's so nice to see you at the line.
Oh, pack of cars come piling in as well.
Come in the light. Hello. Come back on him.
That